people to start. Please take your form.
Is there right?
We is missing Candice and Boris here now, so, okay. All right, let's roll. We're gonna be going live.
We are.
We are live, okay. Make sure my phone is not quiet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Louisiana State Board of Social Work and Examiners.
Recording in
Continuation
progress.
of the board meeting from yesterday. Today is Saturday, March 8, 2024. The time is now 8:31 a.m. At this time, I will ask for a roll call.
Hyacinth McKee,
Present.
Jamie Barney,
Present.
Evan Bergeron,
Present.
Melissa Haley,
Present.
Trinity George,
Present.
Candice Saraparu, Laura Senseri, present.
Okay, and so at this time, I will ask our consumer member to read the expectations regarding public comment.
Public comment period will be permitted for each agenda item requiring a vote. Members of the public who wish to provide public comment may use the raise hand function to be recognized by the chair. Any one person may provide public comment only once per agenda item. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Public comments are limited to the item being considered by the committee. The chair may disregard or terminate any public comment that does not comply with this paragraph. Attendees of the public portion of the meeting can obtain a maximum of 1 hour of continuing education and ethics and 1 hour of general continuing education. An email regarding continuing education credit will be sent within 30 days following the meeting. Bless you.
Thank you so much. All right, and so now, we have already entertained a motion yesterday to approve the agenda. Today is just a continuation of our already approved existing agenda. So with that being said, I will open the floor for any public comment pertaining to the already approved existing agenda. All right, there's no hand raised. I neglected to introduce our counsel, Sherry Morris is present today. And our administrator, Emily D'Angelo, is always also present and always present as well. So greetings to the both of you on this Saturday. And so now we are going to go right where we left off yesterday. We're going to go to correspondence 5P, which is Shandia Jackson, request to accept supervision. Thank y'all, that's under correspondence 2 for our
Okay.
database. I gotta see, I gotta check.
It's under scan 3.
Oh, it's under
Right,
scan
yeah.
3. All right, thanks for that.
So this appears to be another situation where the supervisor accepted but did not complete the information.
Exactly. And they're recognizing that it was an error on their part. And there's a letter from the LCSW Vax.
Sure, supervisor. She's changing her punch with not her employer. Okay. 1624. So it's looking like July 11th to 12/15 to 23, July 11 to 22 to 12/15 to 2023. Do we know how many hours that is? Do we have the ability to
Determined.
gain access to that information without us having to go in? Do we know the hours? Exactly, so we don't, and this is a Saturday and,
So I just want to make sure we have the dates right. So she started supervision July 11th, 2022.
it looks like the contract was completed on, on July 11, 2022.
Mhm.
And
That's when
it,
she began employment.
Where does it say? Because
That's what she said. She started United Health Group,
At
7/11/2022.
full-time social worker.
Mhm.
so we don't have when she started supervision either.
And the primary accepted the first step on 1/10/2023.
I see that. I'm trying to see when she. Like, did she start supervision January 10th, 2020? You know, I'm trying to see if they made an attempt.
It says from her LCSW supervisor on 1/10/23, which was completed, inserted me and submitted.
Right.
Right.
I'm
But if
thinking-
she started supervision in July, they still were several months late.
Yeah,
But if she started supervision, you know, like they were trying to do it that day, but it's hard, I can't tell from this.
primary accepted first step and submitted. You're right, if they started in July and it wasn't accepted and submitted until January 10th of 2023, that's 6 months.
Mhm.
And there's no indication in any of the documentation that they attempted this step within 60 days of beginning this employment.
Right.
It appears she acknowledged that she didn't within
Yeah,
60
okay.
days. Yeah, she acknowledged that she did.
She acknowledged that they didn't get it done within
Right.
60 days.
Yes,
But it seemed, but she's also saying that they tried with the accept, which we've been,
right.
you know,
What she's requesting, it seems, is 7/11/22 through 12/15/23. That's what
Okay,
was
that's what's
lost.
that's
Right.
the law.
Yeah.
But I would just need to know when they started supervision to say,
Right, so we can make a
It
decision.
looked like she's saying 7/11.
Yeah, it says she began employment and that doesn't necessarily.
because if she started working July 11th, I doubt she had her first supervision session, her first day of employment.
Yeah,
I mean, could,
We
but
just don't know.
that'll be a busy day. Yeah.
So she started with, on 1/4/22 with Rachel Swafford.
Okay, wait, hold on, because I don't see wait.
22,
Yeah.
20.
1/4/22, with Rachel Swafford, primary supervisor.
And this was filled out. Was all filled out, correct?
Oh, so the first contract was done right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so this was what happened, I think, was with when her agency so she didn't leave employer, she stayed with the same employer, but her agency supervisor changed.
Okay,
Right. And that's where the hiccup came.
Okay,
okay. And so the new supervisor started July 11th?
No, she went to a new supervisor.
yeah.
Yeah, in July. She, same employer, but went to a new supervisor.
Yeah, July 11th?
Mm-hmm.
No, it says as of 12/18, where she was placed under my employment supervision. So she looked like she was with she started with them at 7/11.
Started the company
With the
7-11.
same, with one supervisor, then on 12/18, she got a new supervisor, still at the same company.
Right,
And she kept the same backs the entire time.
Right,
Correct,
so the new supervisor didn't fill it out in time.
correct.
Oh, not the new bags. the new-
Correct.
Oh,
So I think the
okay.
new supervisor, when she was hired, she was supervised by RN manager, then it switched. She had a change in her employment supervisor, not an employer.
So to me, this one is a little easier for me to
Mhm.
Yeah.
accept because the VAX did not change and her employment didn't change. The
Mhm.
supervisor, the unit that she was in.
It was a HR,
Yeah.
HR, snafu.
Mhm.
It was an HR situation.
Agree.
Yeah, that's, and we see that.
Mm-hmm, that was an
We see that a
HR
lot.
problem.
And I kind of am of the opinion, right, if it's not attributable to the applicant, to the social worker, or even in certain circumstances, the backs, because we've been having issues with that. I'm okay with it. So at the appropriate time, I would move to approve.
I'm okay with it.
All right, so it's been moved by Evan to approve her supervision hours for the period of 7/11/2022 through December 15, 2023. It's been seconded by Trinity. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
I have a hand raised from Shandia Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, good morning. You're being recognized.
Good morning. I was just trying to clarify what you guys did, but you guys figured it out. That's it. I just got a new work supervisor. It was an HR thing. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any objections or abstentions to the
Wait.
motion? Wait,
I have a second hand
Oh.
raised by Gina Rossi.
okay. Gina Rossi, good morning. You're being recognized.
Thank you. I appreciate that you are making this, this decision because you are going to find that in many cases, supervisors at the location change frequently, but they might still be in the same employment and the backs continues to be the same backs. Considering that every new supervisor would have to learn how to do the CERTIMA approval, this could be something that causes you much more work later on. So I hope that you set this as a precedent. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
I have no more public comments.
All right, any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Jamie Mason, request to accept supervision. Okay. Wait a minute, I don't have that in order.
Who is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I'm
here.
reading the wrong person.
I don't have Jamie Mason coming up. Hold on, might be something. Oh, I see it. So somebody's in between
Yes.
here. We're not.
I'll let them
Okay. All
We
right.
accidentally
Good morning.
included this in the scan twice. Y'all have already,
Did this one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Woo, thank you.
So.
All right. So that's
So
the
we-
note, let's the record reflect that Candice Renfro has arrived at 8:43. Okay, thank you. Good morning, Candice.
Morning.
All right, so Jamie Mason is the one we're reviewing now. Okay. 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 So this sounds like an HR too.
Yeah,
And a CERTIMA.
This sounds like an HR issue to me,
Yeah.
not that I wanna, I have to kind of, but this is definitely HR issue. The 10/13/2023 through 11/9/2023 is that question. Any discussion about this, y'all? Okay, what, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Trinity to approve this request. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
no public comments.
Any objection or abstentions to this motion? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is request to accept supervision for Lauren Michelle or either Lauren Michael. I want to apologize for that. Okay.
So I want to know why I have not been able to have St. Joseph Hospice complete the online process. Is it because they refused, or is it because you were dilatory in asking them?
He says the job won't complete.
Yeah, so it sounds like the employer wasn't cooperating.
Okay, so, again, to me, this appears to be, a challenge with the employer. If you all feel differently, then that's okay, I just, um.
So which hour, so it's only those hours that are in question?
Yeah, it appears to be, completed contract on 2/27/24, started job on 7/25/22, 1/7/23, so it looks like it would be 7/25/22. Let me double check again, let me look at that. This is what, and this is how, we're trying to, it is helpful for us to know exactly, we don't wanna miscalculate people's hours. Let me go back
He
again.
started on 7/25/22
Mhm.
into 1/7/23.
1/5, huh, Melissa?
On the sticky, it says 1/7/23.
Okay.
Traditions Hospice
Okay.
started 7/25/22.
Oh, 1/8/2020. Oh, I'm gonna update to initial supervision contract and supervision hours completed from the dates of 1/8/2023 to 2/1/2024.
Oh, okay, hold on.
So is that the dates in question?
It says start job 7/25/2022 to 1/7/23. Completed contract 2/27/24.
Right, but the hours that's in question is 1/8/23 to 2/1/2024, correct? Am I seeing that correctly?
I see those dates, but I'm not sure about.
Well, it says under their contract completed 2/27/24, so it looks like this
Yeah,
person worked from 7/25/22 to July 22 to January 23 and completed the contract
Oh, in
in
2024.
February 24.
Yes, I
Right,
don't
they
see those.
just,
Well,
it must-
hours.
so it would be the 1/8/2023, y'all, to the 2/1 of
I think it's the
2024.
July 25th, 2022 to the January 7th, 2023.
that's what I think too.
The July, say it again.
July 25th, 2022
Yeah.
to January 7th, 2023.
2023.
Well, what I'm not understanding why. It looks, does this mean that this person worked? So he ended employment in January 7/23, but the contract wasn't completed for a whole year later?
A whole year
Yeah.
later.
A whole,
Because they have an email with a misunderstanding where they thought the board office staff was telling them that they couldn't complete the contract until the hours were put in. And the sticky, that's on page 6.
What email? Did the email come to the board? I don't see that one, Jamie.
it said, Lauren said you cannot complete the updates to
And she said it's referring to the professional experience verification hours, not the contract. So the person misunderstood. They thought they were being told not to do the contract until they had the hours logged.
Okay,
And that's what she referenced in her letter. And then there's a note from Sarah with the email
contract me
that
at.
they're talking about the
Okay.
professional experience.
Yeah,
hours.
it's semantics.
Yeah, it was a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
The email.
Oh, I see the email
I got
above
that.
the, okay,
It doesn't say what contract.
it doesn't.
Yeah,
Right,
it's,
Okay.
right.
but I guess the issue is, do we have verification that the person, do we have the verification from St. Joseph? Or they're not doing it? It seemed like we don't have that, right?
I see it, well, I see page 19 has an experience verification from St. Joseph Hospice,
Let's see.
where an agency representative signed off.
Oh, okay.
So that's there. I do see the record of,
I think Hospice of Acadiana was.
July What is that?
record of hours of professional social work services, I see that too completed.
So hours 360.
Okay,
The other hospice agency that wouldn't. submit.
that wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
submit.
Is there anything we can do about that?
I'm not sure because we don't regulate the agency. So,
Are we allowed to accept other forms of verification of employment if the agency won't provide it? Like time cards and stuff? So we can accept it, but
Yeah, it won't, I mean, obviously, something inside of me has to be manipulated, but, if they won't do it, yeah, we could, the board could.
say,
accept it
yeah,
in a
with a
different
time
way.
card, huh? Okay, so
What's the purpose of the agency verification?
because the rule has, you have to have work hours
Right.
as well.
Because they
So it's to
owe,
verify that you were employed.
yeah, because
Yeah,
they have to
working 40 hours
update
a
as
week.
social workers, we have to update with the board within 15 days, our contact information, if where we were employed and all of this information, so that's verification, right?
but for the supervision.
No,
you
they don't
have
have
to-
to tell me where they're employed within 15.
Oh, so they don't have to do that when they're employed, I mean, oh, okay,
Social workers in general do not have to do that.
oh, okay, I thought they did.
The rules state that they have so many hours they have to work, you have to be employed. Okay,
Okay,
so that's
I
what
was inaccurate.
so that's why they have the employment verification. It's in the rule.
And so
Um,
HR can verify it, but if they're refusing to, then you can find other ways to prove that you were working.
Right, a timesheet is suffice.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, okay, so where are we with this particular request?
I just don't know, what's the date range he asking for, cause, even he, she.
In the first sentence, it says requesting approval for supervision hours completed from 7/25/22 through 1/5/23. And supervision hours completed from 1/8/23. So it looks like
That's what
the
I
whole thing.
said, that's what I said.
Again, so I can say so moved, say the whole thing.
So to approve essentially, to
The
approve
entire supervision,
all supervision from July 25th of 22 through February 1st of 24. That's what it looks like.
Okay,
we
but
do
there's
that?
a sticky that says completed on time for St. Joseph Hospice. But it doesn't say what time frame that is. And then,
so I'm wondering if we can request additional information from the individual to verify their employment. If they don't wanna complete it, I mean, I'm hearing, we could ask for additional information, from the employer, her time, not the employer, from a timesheet or payroll records, I'm hearing over here to show that she works. Cause this is just an issue of employment verification for me. I don't see it being anything else.
Well, we don't need that, we don't need the verification anymore, we just need the hours, right?
Well, we just need to, well,
We need to know how many hours they need.
it's, I guess, still in a way to just say that the individual is employed and she's fulfilling that requirement to the rule, right? Cause I don't see where it's anything other than that.
what's still outstanding, Emily? The contract. As well as the issue.
The completed contract on 2/27/24.
Yeah, Emily.
It looks like everything's been submitted, it's just the time frame of when it was submitted. that
Yeah,
they're
I think we
asking
have everything.
With hours.
She's explaining why she didn't do it on time, but we have it all now.
I think that's what I'm saying, we just don't know how many hours that is, right?
Where are we with this? Are we leaning towards a motion? Where are we?
I don't mind approving it, I just don't know what time frame.
That's what I'm waiting on.
How many hours?
Have we done?
Cause if she has everything, then we just need to approve those times that you just said.
Because haven't we done that before?
Yes.
Okay, Evan, go ahead and.
Say it again, say it again.
Say it again.
No, it's in the first sentence, hang on.
First, a different one.
I'm requesting approval for supervision hours July 25th, 2022 through January 5th of 2023, and January 8th of 2023 to February.
Trinity, any public comment pertaining to
moved
this
by
on the motion?
It was moved
By
by,
Evan.
It was moved by me.
Oh,
I
I'm
just wanted to
sorry.
say it.
Moved by Trinity.
Oh, you didn't, okay.
Yeah.
It's been moved by Trinity, who's second? Second by
Melissa.
Melissa. Any public comments? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is a correspondence from Kelly Pebbles. Hey,
Literally, this is just, I don't understand, sir, to me. That's how I read this.
Yeah, I don't see what the, like, where there was an extra. So like, did you go insert me and just kind of move around and then get out? Cause it was too confusing, which is not the same as I said this and thought I did it correctly. And I reached out to this person and didn't get assistance.
Right. None of that's in here.
She's just complaining about. Sure.
There's a lot.
So at the appropriate time, I would move to deny.
so, this doesn't, we don't have a contract on this?
I don't know what they want.
Do we have do you know if we
Oh,
have a
wait.
contract? Do we have a contract? No, oh yeah, the sticky notes.
It looked,
Oh, there's another
they had a
one.
paper contract,
Okay.
but we weren't doing paper contracts.
Accepted and not completed by the backs.
Oh, so they did do some stuff in certain.
Yeah, second.
But they didn't finish it. Well, they finished it on 1/5/2024.
She didn't state any of this in her letter,
No,
which she should have.
and they just sent paper, which we don't do.
You gotta make sure the whole started job 5/2/20.
She did not clarify any of that.
This is a supervision issue to me. I mean, this is a Bax issue. Because if the Bax has been her supervisor for 2 years and didn't discuss with her about employment verification, or didn't know that there wasn't a paper contract, or didn't know, it just seemed like the Bax wasn't clear on what was supposed to be done. I get she doesn't understand, but I'm not sure why the Bax wouldn't understand.
Right, so she sent the first step inserted me on May 16th, 2022. She sent it to the banks. So that, I agree, that's not her, that was her actually attempting to get it done. No, I don't know about this paper stuff.
You have a detailed paper record uploaded.
Yeah, but we weren't taking pay.
I know.
Well, actually, you do have to turn in the, well, I'm not gonna convolute this anymore.
But they eventually figured out how to use Certamy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they corrected it, but they couldn't enter the stuff that they didn't do with her former employer. Am I reading this correctly?
Well, that's the issue, we don't know what the issue is.
And so the secondary supervisor at Beacon did the paper verification. So she's lost a year and a half, according to page 25.
May 2022 to July 2023. Yeah, it looks like the stuff done by paper is fine.
like this with a letter of education, but I feel like they figured it out eventually. It's not like anybody's refusing to do it,
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, she did what she was supposed to do. The supervisee.
the supervisee.
She did, she sent the contract to the banks in May of 2022. And that's when the supervision started, and that's the hours that are lost. The banks just didn't get it complete until,
No, she started supervision in 21.
but those hours aren't in question.
Oh, okay.
So she was able to do certainly then.
So what,
No,
so if you
it's
started on paper,
In 21, they
Yeah,
still could do
it was paper.
paper, so
Oh,
she had
okay.
started
you do the
paper.
paper and you
yeah.
upload the paper in a digital wallet, and then you send that bulk of hours at once.
This is one that was on that cusp. I definitely see. that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's just the second one where you had to actually,
Mhm.
I make a motion to, what are the hours again?
go find.
Hold on, wait a
You
minute.
wanna make the motion, so you need to find it.
Right.
Don't jump in
You're not
and
about to
try
just
to
keep- don't
make
even know.
motions and let everybody else do the work.
Hold on, wait a minute. I was just there.
On page 25.
I'm there. Okay, so it says. Okay. And not completed by backs, okay. So lost. So I'll make a motion to have Miss Kelly Peoples' hours that were lost from 5/2 of 2022 to 11/4 of 2023. For us to approve those hours.
Been
So we-
moved by Trinity
read
to
like that.
approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
Can I make a note that in her letter, those dates are different than the dates that Trinity just stated?
So that's the.
Object then.
So, you would have
I'm
to
sorry,
object to
it's-
the motion. Hold on one second.
Okay.
He would have to object to the motion. We would then have to do a roll call. So are you objecting to the motion? I have a second. Is there an objection to the
I
motion?
will object to the motion because the dates.
So, make the record reflect that the motion has been objected. At this time, we need a roll call.
Hyacinth, wait, you don't vote on this. Jamie Barney,
So yes mean you agree with objecting? No.
Yes means you agree with the motion.
Oh, yes.
The wrong dates.
Okay, no, okay.
what are you doing? You're voting what? Yes or no?
I'm voting yes.
You voting yes that you agree with the motion?
Yes,
So you agree with Trinity's motion?
yes.
Okay, so Jamie agrees with Trinity's motion. Next,
Evan,
No,
Melissa, Kennedy,
No,
Candice,
No.
Bora, no.
okay, so what's the count?
1 yes, 5 no's.
All right, and so at this time, that motion dies. Is there another motion that, needs to come on the floor regarding this matter on the agenda?
Before we do the motion, can we get Emily to look at the actual hours? And not necessarily the dates of employment, because I think that's. Do you have her? If you don't have it, okay, but
Just tell me what you're talking about, like when you're.
the contract completed date, and then I said hours. That's what I said.
no, but it's the board office staff gave dates.
And that's the.
So they're
that's why I
looking
went by.
at, that's what he went by, the dates
Yes,
the
I went by
board
the
office
dates.
is saying. She has dates, right, so
Yeah.
I don't think he.
I don't think I was wrong,
But why you voting no against your vote?
because I just
I
like,
can't read the board office thing to see where you're talking about that sticky note.
on page 25.
The dates they're saying.
It says from May of 2nd of 2022 to 11/4/2023. Lost, that's what I was going by.
So we're trying to see which is the right dates.
Okay. I couldn't tell. what
And
that
then
meant.
1/5/2024 is when the contract was completed. So 5/2 of 2022 to 11/4/2023 was the dates that were lost. That's what I was reading from. And when you said that, I was like, oh, well, okay. So I agreed to my own motion being denied.
I just want to make, I didn't know if what dates. were
Well, I
correct.
thought you heard him read.
No, I heard him
something
read the
incorrect.
dates
So
that are not.
I thought I missed him
No, no.
speaking.
Okay.
But he was reading literally from the notes.
So Emily was saying she usually defer to board office staff. That's what I was doing. That's why I was
Yeah,
like.
I thought I misheard.
And that's what I did.
Maybe to be clear, I put forth the motion to approve the hours from May 1st, 2022.
The second,
No, I'm saying what I'm saying, from May first,
okay,
2022, whatever hours have been achieved to November 30th, 2023.
I second it. So
It's been moved by Jamie. Is there a second?
Trinity second.
Second by Trinity. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the request from Bernadette Saint Amand.
Which would be correspondent,
Is it 4? Cause I can't.
I think
So
so.
what about
I don't see
T? Did we miss?
Can I need just a second.
I'm sorry?
Jasmine.
Oh, we missed Jasmine Smith.
Did we miss Jasmine?
I didn't see her.
I'm sorry about that.
I can't find that.
Yeah, I don't have
That would
it.
be under, let's see.
Is it the?
I see it. It's under 4.
Yes, the first one. on
So,
board.
let's go to T Jasmine Smith.
So, I don't, you say y'all see her in 4.
Yeah, correspondence 4, she's the first one. Or you make sure you're in March, cause my January,
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I'm looking at, I'm like, this is not.
yesterday March was
she's not
first,
the
but the
first
day
thing.
January was first, and I was thrown completely off.
My January was first yesterday.
Oh, man, what?
I didn't have certain documents in yesterday.
Certain strikes again?
Employment verification step not started until 1/23/24. So it was not even attempted.
You gonna see it?
Mine is some from Mackenzie Doherty. Friday.
Are you in the right?
I'm in the right, I guess so. I was in the right month a minute ago.
That was a compliance hearing.
Hold on, so I'm putting.
January. Yeah.
Did y'all have to say that out loud? Oh, y'all know.
They're just looking at correspondence from January. Because they.
Because of compliance was from.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be in
Yeah, I
January.
see it. But- Isn't that good news? Scroll up. Yeah, scroll up a little bit. Yeah, they do.
There we go, 3.
I don't see it. You don't have it.
For the record, no. I
I'm
knew
closer to it
I don't-
mine.
That's what happened to me
Yeah, it's-
yesterday.
Oh,
I was
okay,
just
okay.
missing some documents and
I'm always fearful of this. Let me, it's too many of it. I know it's ridiculous. That's what I said. I said if I didn't have to look at this book, I wouldn't do this no
I
more.
really thought it was user error. Tired.
Where are y'all with this? Are we at a point where we are still discussion?
Just sit down.
y'all ready for a motion? We need more time.
That's what I just asked. Are we at, where are we? You know, are we ready for a motion or y'all still need time to review? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the request.
It's been moved by Bora to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to the motion?
Sorry, no.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion?
I object. I don't understand why y'all are approving this. It looks like it wasn't started. It looks like the person just did not do what they were supposed to do.
Okay, let the record reflect, Evan objected to the motion. Objection, we need a roll call.
Jamie Barney. No. Evan Bergeron.
No.
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George.
No,
Candy Saraparu.
Me a second too. Yes versus no.
The motion was to approve, you objected, I mean,
So
Will you
yes.
approve the motion?
Yes means, okay, thank you. I'm gonna go with no.
for sincerity, yeah.
What's the counts?
1, 2, 3, 4 no's and 2 yeses.
So the motion
Got
dies.
I move to deny and offer a compliance hearing.
Okay, it's been moved by Evan to deny and offer a compliance
Second.
hearing. Second by Trinity. Is there any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request from Bernadette Saint Amand to accept supervision.
I would like the record to reflect that I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
Candice is abstaining or recusing herself.
Accusing, I'm sorry.
On the sticky, it looks like this is another backs accepted but not completed. Are y'all getting that?
Yeah, but it looks like she didn't send it until June and she
Mhm.
lost hours from January.
I see what you mean. Yeah. And the January to May hours are what's being requested.
Yeah, unless I'm looking at something wrong, because her letter is indicating that she thought she did it, so.
Yeah, you-
Yeah, it did. She said it's a misunderstanding.
And cleaning it.
It's saying that.
But well, the sticky is saying that the bank's accepted in June, not necessarily that she sent it in June, so maybe she did send it initially. Can't tell from this.
Mhm.
What the sticky say?
It does say employment verification wasn't sent until June.
The contract part, the
Mhm.
acknowledgement part
Mhm.
was submitted in June
okay.
2023.
That's when she
The
sent it
first
to the,
supervisory session was 1/9/23.
and she didn't send it to the supervisor till June.
That's when the supervisor accepted it.
Can you see when she sent the invitation?
Let me see if I can log in as her and do it. I can't tell when it was sent.
Okay.
It was just when it was accepted by the supervisor.
Well,
She
the
said that-
verification was done on 6/13. So it had to go to the supervisor before then, right?
Right. Unless she did it that day, but, right.
But I mean, because it goes to the supervisor first, and then it goes to and the supervisor accepts, and then it goes to employee, right?
No, the employee sends it to the supervisor.
No, employer, because it looks
Yes.
like her employer verification was on 6/13.
Well, employment verification is a different document. She could send all of them out at the same day. Like the contract, you go in and you could send the contract to the banks, the employment verification to HR, like you don't have to wait for one to do the other.
Okay, so she could have sent it to the employer first and the back second?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You could
okay.
have sent them the same time, like one doesn't depend on the other.
Oh, okay.
Not a contract, the employer has to sign a contract too.
They're confused.
Who, me?
No,
Oh.
you know what you're talking about. They're confused. Because yesterday I was explaining the acknowledgement part, and I was explaining that the invitation goes to the backs first,
Mhm.
and once the backs does their portion and submits it, then it moves to the agency
I
supervisor.
remember.
But the employment verification step, it's a different step.
I got
You can send that directly to the agency supervisor.
Okay, got you. So, yeah, I was remembering exactly what you were saying. That's exactly what okay.
So being that they both were done in on June 13th, it looks like that's probably when she sent them. Is that what it is?
Are we waiting on some information?
So
We're not waiting on
I guess
information.
I don't understand why she just asking for that portion. Why is she just asking for that portion? Is she automatically getting credit from cause the contract was done on the 12th, right? Of 23?
The contract.
Oh,
Because it was
the employee
completed
verification was on the 12th, completed, was completed on 7/12.
23, I guess both of them, I'm not sure.
So we received it on July 11th of 2023, and so we can backdate up to 60 days. So that's where the 5/11/2023 date
Okay.
comes from.
So being that the backs, from what I'm looking at, it looks like the backs accepted the contract on June 13th and Human Resources accepted the employment verification on June 13th.
Which is a possibility if both of them filled it out on the same day.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so they both did it the same day. I'm thinking that's when she sent it. And so I'm going to make a motion to deny the request based on it.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Jamie to deny seconded by Evan. Any, public comment pertaining to this, motion? It will be denied on for compliance hearing. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comments.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, or objection, recusal, Candice, Srappo noted. Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request of supervision by Leslie Vadrine.
I need to recuse myself from this request.
Okay, let the record reflect that Bora recused herself from this request and discussion.
Okay. This looks similar.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so she, in this instance, if I'm reading this correctly, she's requesting February 14th to November 23rd, 2023. So February to November 2023. And the contract was completed January 2024. And it looks like the employment verification was also not done until January 2024. And so she is saying that she started supervision February 14th. She did not realize she sent the employment verification to her immediate supervisor rather than human resources,
The supervisor.
but she didn't discuss the contract in her letter.
And this says employment verification not started until January of 24.
Yeah. So based on that, I'm gonna make a motion to deny and offer a compliance hearing.
It's been moved by Jamie to deny, seconded by Evan. Any public comment,
No public comments.
objections, or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is from Alexis Wilcott, request to waive in-person CE requirement.
This one's-
Me as well.
You ready for a motion?
Whenever y'all, if you can make a motion whenever you want to.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Candice. Any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is a request to approve supervision completed remotely on January 28, 2024 from Kendra Edwards.
Only issue with this is it's requesting approval after it's happened.
Does our
Was, I read the rule and it's ambiguous. It appears that you have to get approval in advance, but it's not explicit. So to me, it's sort of a board call and I'm just not personally comfortable with a post hoc approval.
How many hours we talking? Is it only 1 hour supervision?
And so
This is only a weekend, right? So it's a 1 hour?
It can be more than two, but it doesn't say. Oh, they say weekly, so yeah, it should be more.
I approved the mental space weekly supervision. This past weekend, we met by Zoom due to supervisor's travel time. From there into one room. If approved, I request supervision via Zoom for January. So it looked like it's
1 day.
It's like 1 day. First of all, thank you, LMSW, for being so like openly honest and transparent and, sending this request. I did want to note that, even though this happened after the fact, I mean, it just shows the level of integrity, that you have as it relates to your supervision. Unfortunately, 503H, it would have been best if you could have sent it prior to this actually happening.
I have
A
moved to
question.
approve this 1 day of remote supervision.
So board is moving to approve it,
Second.
seconded by Melissa.
She also does have a question in her next correspondence about how far in advance.
That part.
Oh, staff is gonna answer that? Okay, never.
Right, so it's been moved by board to approve. Who seconded?
Me.
Melissa seconded. Is there any public comment?
Please, public comment, so I can have time to read this.
Any public comment? Any objections or abstentions?
Wait, hold on. Receive approval of supervising must submit a written request. Contains specific details of the board's motion.
I think they're backing up. They might be backing up.
Approve the supervisor and the supervisor agree to use. I don't have an objection.
No objection.
No objection?
No,
Any abstentions?
not happy about
We
it.
I can tell that's.
We still have objection and abstentions, it's just that. Okay,
I'm gonna object.
okay. We have an
I'm only
objection
gonna object for
by-
discussion, because we about to set precedents, and I think that's the concern. And I just wanna.
It doesn't matter, you don't have to give your rationale for
Okay,
why
okay.
y'all object,
Okay.
so please, let's not do that, y'all have to feel like you want to object.
Okay.
Is that we have an objection on the floor, the objection is to approve the request. And so now we have to do a roll call, so you're voting on whether or not you agree with,
So did we all discuss before we vote? No.
you're voting right now whether or not you approve the motion that's on the floor. The motion on the floor is to approve this request for the 1 hour supervision on the weekend. Okay, the 1 day, no more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
This time.
So now this is a roll call.
The 1 day, it's just like Jimmy said, the president.
We're not-
What's on the
we're
floor?
just voting
Right now, we're
now,
voting,
okay?
folks, so she's gonna
Jamie
call your
Martin,
name.
No.
Evan Bergeron,
No,
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George,
No,
Cindy Saraparu,
Yes.
Laura Sansari, yes.
Mr. Count,
It's 3 and 3, so
my answer is no. My answer is no. And so the request,
well,
The motion
the
died.
motion dies.
we can,
Can we chit chat a little bit?
this is my.
If y'all don't mind. Very
Go ahead
briefly.
and make your whatever. motion.
So I don't have a motion right now.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to have some discussion about it, because what we're saying is going forward. They're kind of setting that standard that if persons go ahead and complete their supervision virtually, they can come back retroactively and get it approved, which I'm not 100% against either. Like, I just wanna, just
I guess
see how we interpreting this legislation.
I'm sorry, for the record.
Huh?
Do you mind reading the rule?
I do not mind at all. I just, wait, give me one, it's 503, 501, 50, what's that about? Okay. So it says occasionally a need may arise for supervision to occur using electronic communication rather than on a face-to-face basis. The board may consider alternatives to face-to-face supervision if the applicant can demonstrate an undue burden due to hardship, disability, or travel time. All situations of remote supervision must be approved by the board. To receive approval, the supervisee should submit a written request containing specific details to the board. The board shall consider the request at a regularly scheduled board meeting and notify the supervisor of its decision within 30 business days. If approved, the supervisor and supervisee agree to use secure technology that provided real-time visual contact among the individuals involved and adheres to the confidential nature of the supervisory process. So like Evan said, it doesn't directly say.
Right, and now that you read it again, to me, the last sentence seems to suggest
That you need to get
If
approval
approved,
first.
That's what I'm
then
saying,
you-
ahead of time.
within-
prior
ahead of-
to explicit. Now, look, on the other hand, for those of you who are considering approving,
Mhm.
the alternative would be that social workers and supervisors and supervisors assume the risk of not having it approved, and therefore they would just lose
Mhm.
that particular.
I think it's major because I am going to go out on the limb and say that even though we are not allowing virtual supervision without board approval right now, there are people still doing it and don't have any idea. And it's going to be coming up retrospectively, like, oh, we've been doing this, can you approve what has already happened?
So I guess for me, I look at it that we're voting on this incident and what happened in this case.
Mhm.
And the whole precedent thing is not fair to this situation. This situation, it was no way she could get this approved in advance. This was one time, 1 hour at one time. So it's not like it's an ongoing thing, like what you're saying, Jamie. If somebody come back and say, well, I did 40 hours, did 10 hours or what have you, that's a lack of knowledge. She's clear that this was she asked for it immediately afterwards. She didn't come back a long time, so I don't necessarily think this is a precedent. This is based on this experience. And then and I agree with your transparency statement, because she didn't really have to do this.
Right.
But it's almost like the penalty for being honest, and I don't know if Grace is in there or anything, but I think I was just looking at this particular situation.
And that's how I was looking at it too, because the rule is vague and I know it suggests and I think what happened, and I don't know these people, I shouldn't assume, right? But after it happened, they went, oh my gosh, we did this wrong. Or somebody overheard them talking about it and said, y'all, yeah, that's gotta be pre-approved. So to me, I appreciate their honesty and their transparency and saying, we messed up. And now if they came here and said, we've been doing it for 3 months and, we want you to retroactively approve, that's a whole different story for me. But this situation, they didn't have to do this.
Yeah, and
so-
I agree with, I hear all the sides and again, I appreciate that LMSW, being transparent, but again, the rule is clear. At the last sentence clearly says, get board approval. And approval it's from the way I interpret, because we all interpret the rule differently. My interpretation of the rule is that was something that needed to happen in advance and not after. That's my interpretation of the rule. So therefore, I'm not in agreement with approving this. And I will also say that, moving forward, that we are actively as a board and as a supervision committee, we have basically rewritten 503H to cover some of these circumstances. My concern is that 503H is what we are dealing with right now. That is the existing rule. And so we cannot waver too far from what we already are adhering to as what's on the books as rule. So my interpretation is that this should not be approved. It is 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. It's unfortunate. But it is my opinion that it should not be approved.
My opinion is the rule says approval, which is what they're asking for. So it doesn't say pre-approval.
It doesn't say pre-approved. It is, everyone has their own interpretation,
that's what I
right? And so
said.
that's part of it.
It's like,
That's the challenge, of course, like with rules, right?
It's an hour, I'm not gonna look at it.
Right, it's an hour, right? I mean, I don't feel
We've
like.
been talking about it hour. We've been talking about it
Right,
hour.
and so someone would need to make a motion, the motion to approve, it died. Is there another motion at this time?
I will move to deny and offer.
So it's been moved by Evan to deny
Second.
and offer compliance hearing. It's been seconded by Trinity. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
I have a hand raised from Gina Rossi.
Gina, you are being recognized.
I want to clarify that it is not just 1 hour. If this is on the tail end of the required meeting within 80 hours, or the person loses at 80 hours. So be clear about that. It's not just 1 or 2 hours. If they are within 80, if they are working 80 hours.
I'm sorry, Gina. The supervisee, and I'm only adding this clarification because it seems as though you are asking, and I'm only providing this out of courtesy. The supervisee is asking for 1 hour.
One session.
One session.
For 81 hours.
It's not, she's not asking for 80 hours.
She's talking about
Right.
raising now.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the supervisee must meet with their supervisor if they have worked 80 hours, or they lose those 80 hours in their work hours requirement.
So,
You have to meet with your supervisee if they're working 80 hours. If this is on the tail end, they miss that.
that's and thank you so much, Gina. That's what the compliance hearing will reveal. And thank you so much for bringing that to attention. I probably should not have responded to you. That probably was inappropriate on my part. I probably should have just went on ahead and went with the board's recommendation to deny offer compliance hearing and allow the supervisee to come before the board and provide more additional information regarding this matter. So I want to apologize for replying to you and providing information that that should not have happened. We'll let the supervisee and supervisor come in before the board and explain. Thank you so much for your comment. With that being said, the next item on the agenda is, I'm sorry, abstain. Did we vote?
Do we need?
We don't need it because
She
it was a
got-
public comment. I'm sorry, y'all. I lost track of that. It's a lot going on here. Objections and abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to allow remote supervision from Courtney Bloodsall.
Yeah, I thought this was fine. I think we typically approve 1 hour each way. I feel like I seem to remember that whenever the travel time has been that substantive, we have approved the request.
Mhm. I don't have any problems with this one. I would like to note FaceTime is not a secure platform,
Oh,
but this is Zoom or FaceTime, so I would just like to see not use FaceTime.
I would move to approve at the appropriate time.
It's been moved by Evan to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Candice. Any public comment?
No.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to allow remote supervision. Darian Johnson.
So we requested additional info and they haven't responded. On this one, I see the sticky, and I'm guessing the additional information we requested was something from her banks possibly.
Of her certificate.
Possibly like the travel distance, I'm gonna assume, because we don't know.
I wrote down Homa to Thibodeau. Cause I see the address is listed Homa, and then she says she travels to Thibodeau.
And that's not that far.
It's not that far.
That's not far at all.
I also,
not
there's
far.
sometimes there's a lot of traffic on between those two
Uh-huh.
places, so I can understand it that. That hasn't been provided to us, I'm just using
Right.
personal experience from when I was in high school, and we used to make
Right,
that drive,
right.
like, so. Yeah. You know, cause you went in Thibodeau and then you wanted to go to the bowling alley in Homa, cause they had cosmic bowling and it was glow in the dark.
But that would be
But I do
assuming I'm
think-
leaving from
So what's
Tiverton.
the-
Yeah, I don't
But
think-
they-
I-
part-time job could be anywhere.
I'd be right, so I think I see the hardship here, not necessarily the travel time.
And maybe we don't have
Emily,
a
do we
platform
have
or whatever.
additional information?
No, I don't.
I think that's probably the more
Sorry.
information, like what platform are you gonna use?
We haven't been requiring that though, huh?
Oh, I don't know, everybody else.
I
been
think
saying
we
it.
started.
I mean, people been saying it, which is
Okay,
good, but the
I didn't know
rule
what, I was just
says.
wondering what's the requested
Yeah.
information.
Right, and I did
And I
ask
thought-
that,
Well,
she doesn't know.
What I'm sorry, I did say I don't know, but you know, that policy that the board adopted, it said certain things that had to be turned your request for virtual supervision. I'm sure that that's what Regina asked for,
Oh.
that additional information. I think it talked about, I think it talks about like what
Exactly.
Oh, we request that from everyone who, okay.
So.
It's like
Defer
we use
pending-
Microsoft
I
Teams.
mean,
and
yeah, I
things of
would
that
move
nature.
to defer pending receipt of additional information.
It's been moved by
Second.
Evan to defer, and are you all wanting to defer to the next meeting
To
or?
the next meeting.
So it's been moved to defer this matter to the next meeting. It's been seconded by Trinity. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Is there any objection or abstention? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is Tara Jones request to allow all CE via distance learning.
I don't have a problem with this one.
Same.
It's, I don't either, but it's interesting that we take self-report on certain things and not other. But, it's just interesting. I mean, she says this is what she does and okay, that's fine. And we just take the self-report.
She provided copies of her lease.
Yeah, well, I see, it's just interesting to me. But I mean, I don't have an objection to it.
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Evan to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Candice. Any objections or abstentions? Did I ask for public
You
comment?
did.
Any public comment?
No.
Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to accept supervision that began in 2018 from Alexandra Sumlin.
So I wrote down, is our approval necessary? It
Oh, wait,
is.
no, I don't know, because it started under the old rules.
That's right, that's what I was thinking.
I think it was okay. I didn't see any issue with this.
Right,
When did the new rule begin?
2022, right, August 1st of 22.
Okay.
Someone was that right, the effective date of the new practice act.
Yeah, if y'all wanna still discuss, you can.
So so the new rule is 4 years, right? I don't have a problem with it.
Nobody does. I think we're just trying to figure out, did we have to do it or are they automatically approved?
Mhm.
Do it. I think either way.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
It's been moved by Jamie
Second.
to approve, seconded by Trinity. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comments.
Any objection or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a request, and I'm sorry, it's a question regarding records retention for supervisory files. From Nita Balcom.
Record. Say.
It does,
They don't
and
say
then,
about,
and then also, I think that we will be bordering on providing like legal advice. In terms of, it's at the discretion of the supervisor to keep the records, I believe, however,
What records are you specifically-
supervisory
What
records.
records are those that?
I'm assuming that Nita is asking
Like the
about
record of
keeping the
supervision.
record of
The
supervision.
stuff that's in Certame?
Yeah,
Right
but she
now.
may have some papers too from long
I'm saying,
time
but
ago.
it's like one of those things that to tell you how long to keep something, I don't even know what it is.
right, but if,
503, she referenced what she's talking about.
Right, and so,
503J, the supervisor shall keep a supervision folder and it shall include the following:
Mhm.
copy of the supervision contract, narrative of all supervisory sessions, including overview of cases discussed, significant decisions made, any ethical concerns, significant problems arising in supervision, and how they were resolved, copies of memos and correspondence, copy of evaluation of supervision, copies of the record of supervision.
So she's asking how long should she keep that? Because 503J tells her that she should. So she's asking for a timeline. And so I would say that I don't want to, legally tell her when she should and should not keep records when we don't have anything in writing to specifically say. I don't want to tell her, Nita, throw your records away, and then she does. Or I don't want to say, Nita, keep your records for the rest of your life, because then that puts the board in a situation of kind of telling her how to handle records legally, and we don't have the authority to do so. What I will say to Nita is that we are, as a supervision committee, looking at the entire chapter 5. This is one of the things that we are looking at and trying to see where we can add more guidance. But at this point in time, I'm not gonna tell Nita to dispose of her records. And then something may happen when I'm not gonna give her I don't want to comfortably tell her to dispose of her and something legally where she needs to have them. I don't have that authority as a regulator to do that. So that's my position on the discussion. She was very clear on citing 503J to get her in for her inclusion.
Understood.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say that to dispose of her records, but she could always decide to electronically place her records on a junk drive.
Well, I don't wanna
Don't
even
go
tell her,
right.
I don't want us to,
Give her
our
any
role
ideas.
is not to
Right.
give people legal advice on what to do with their records. But I will say that the supervision committee is reviewing the entire chapter 5. This is part of chapter 5. And we're looking at different ways on how to better support our supervisors in this process. Good question, Nita, but we can't give you legal advice either way. But it's at the board's pleasure to decide what they want to do. That, I wanted to step up and say something about this.
Sherry, do you have any, advice on this?
I think it's good for the supervision committee to look at it since it doesn't address the time frame in the rule.
Okay.
I agree.
And we are in the process of getting new technology, and maybe some of it can be uploaded to the platform and stored that way. And so that is all something that it's not addressed in our rules at this point.
I agree, Sherry, and I'm glad that you, rules of supervision are looking at this because there is some precedence. There is a record retention that is done and accepted nationally for federal contracts and things of that nature. So there is something you could pattern it out, you know, when you approach that decision.
We don't need a motion on this. It was just a request from Nita. The next item on the agenda is a request to waive in-person CE requirement. From Jennifer Collin, Colon, thank you.
Do y'all know that or y'all?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
it's Spanish.
Okay, so
I don't see a problem with this.
Sam, move to approve.
Second,
it's been moved by Evan to approve this request, seconded by Jamie. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No.
Any objection or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. And this is are y'all approving it for this period or for this year, continuing education for this year?
Yes, that's right.
You all will have to make sure that that's clear, that it's, continuing education for 2023-2024, or is it in
I mean, that-
perpetuity, or
well,
with this particular?
I mean, that's the request she asked specifically for 23 to 24.
Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda is, a request to accept supervision completed in 2012 and requesting remote supervision from Angela Thomas.
This is distance.
Well, so it's two requests in one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll go back to my initial question, is there a shelf life for supervision hours?
What do you mean?
Like, do they expire?
Oh, I think so. Apparently,
Do it in the rules.
for years.
Mhm.
Well, that's under the new law. Is that
Oh,
Prior to 2022.
oh,
yeah,
So I still have a question about that, because I've gotten different legal opinions over the years about stuff like this, when something new passes and where you're supposed to look. So, in my little pea brain, if you first of 22, which is when the last change was, and say they don't fall under that restriction that the supervision has to be done before 4 years, then are we also looking at whether or not they met 5,760 hours of work experience with 3,840 being under the supervision of a BACS? Because that's what was the law at that time. I just want to make sure it goes both ways, because I don't know that it makes a difference with how we're reviewing applications.
My opinion that if it becomes more restrictive, if you have a rule and it becomes more restrictive or more burdensome, that you can't apply it retroactively unless the legislation says so. But if it becomes less restrictive or less burdensome, if you lower the number of CE hours, for instance, then it applies to everybody going forward. Everybody gets the benefit of the lower restriction.
so you can apply
So it depends
two
upon-
different, you can apply those two different things to the same.
To the people that
person.
started before the effective date of the law.
So she could get the burden I'm sorry, so she wouldn't get the burden of the additional work hours, but she would get the benefit of being able to use hours from 2012. Is that what you're saying?
That's what she said.
Well, no,
That's what I heard.
the work hours were reduced, so that's less burdensome.
Right, so she gets that, right, so she gets that benefit,
Yeah.
but
she's gotta meet the 4-year requirement. If
But
you,
that-
you can't mix them.
Oh, that's what I
That's
thought
what
you
she's
said.
saying. That's what
Yeah.
she asked, yeah.
Right, but whether you're going under the old act or the new act, I think you have to stay within this parameters of the requirement. You're either in the old act or the new act.
That's
So,
what she was
but I
asking.
think that's the issue, there's a burden and a benefit in the old, from the old to the new.
Mhm.
So how do we know which to apply?
So is it,
Well, the law didn't say that that anyone that had already started the program, that the requirements were changed for them.
Right,
So I think they have the ability to use the old act,
right,
which they started. But if they can meet the requirements of the new act within the time period, with the number of hours, I think they can use the new act.
okay, okay,
And we might need to maybe go through a couple of examples, just
I
to
need it
make
in writing,
sure.
cause
Right, I think that it would be best if we like said, application A started this time, we probably want to look at 10 scenarios to make sure. But that's generally the rule is you look at whether it's more burdensome or more restrictive and whether the legislation told you what to do.
right. So in this case, the legislation did not tell us what to do.
Correct.
And so it would be more restrictive for her to have to get 5,000 and some work hours. But it would be less restrictive for her to, what was the other part? It's less restrictive.
The lower number of hours.
To get no, they'd be able to use the hours from 2012.
right.
So those are the two different situations.
But she's only asking
time
to count
constraints.
those 44 hours toward
Or
finishing her supervision, which would-
Right.
the way I read it is she's assuming that, hey, I've got to meet the current requirements, but I want to include those hours from 10 years ago.
Right.
Which to me is a reasonable ask.
I think it's reasonable too. I'm just trying to understand where Sherry's
Yeah,
coming.
she's not trying to get away with
No,
following
I
the
don't
act
think
from
that.
back then. She's saying, I'm willing to do what I gotta do, but I want to count those hours.
So the- but the question
But it's
Emily
the
is
same
posing
thing is that she wants to use old hours where if she was doing all of this indefinitely, she would have to do 5,000 hours.
Right.
So now she only has to do 3,000 and some hours. And so now she's saying,
do the
I need,
3,000 within the 4 years.
Right, so-
Or the longer.
right.
Yeah.
It just don't seem like that's right to me.
It sounds like if she uses the old hours, she has to use the old rule.
That's the way I would think too.
Use the old act.
Once she uses the old rule, she has to get new hours.
So she should pick a rule. The old one's in 5 hours, or you want the new one in, that's what
Yeah, out there, that's. If
She
you
falls
just
within
have to do the old rule.
She falls within the old rules, but if she can
Yeah.
meet the new act requirements, she can use that, I believe. But you can't say, I have forever, but I want the lower number of hours.
Okay,
Well,
Because
why
what
would
the
she?
change is to lower the number of hours, but compress the time, so it's not strung out over 10 years. So you can't pick the old act versus the new act.
okay.
You have to pick one act or the other act. You can't pick what you like from the old act and what you
That's
like.
what it seemed like, that's happening, because she would be able to meet the new act. She can't meet the new act wouldn't allow her to use those 40-some hours.
No.
The new act wouldn't allow that.
Right.
The old act would allow.
Right.
Right, but you might have some people that don't meet the old act numbers, but they meet the new act numbers and they're within 4 years. And so that's fine because they're meeting the current requirements, but you can't mix the
Well,
requirements.
that's what she's trying to do, seem to me.
Well, she didn't
I don't
necessarily
know if
ask
she
about the
can.
extra hours,
Yeah.
but I think Emily wanted to get the clarification because it's coming up.
This act allows the board to consider circumstances for more than 4 years. So you could still make your motion feel like the way you're leaning. But I need it for my clarification as to how I need to teach the staff on what to do.
Mhm.
I don't
Evaluate
know.
the application,
So-
whatever.
So it does make sense for us to consider these requests, because if we consider the requests, then people can use the new act.
Mhm.
Okay, now I get
Started
it.
before the new year.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So it looks like
That's a very long.
so in
that's a
regards to
precedent.
her being able to use her 44 hours from 2012 and 2013. Does anyone,
Can I ask a question? Are
What's
we
the
gonna make
circumstance?
one motion or two, cause she has two requests?
we're gonna have to do two different motions, I think.
Alright,
So you said what's the circumstances? She lived in a rural area and the supervisor she had couldn't keep her after a job changed or something. And so
She couldn't find
she couldn't find anyone. So that's why the second part comes with a request for virtual supervision. She wants to pick it back up and keep those hours she had before.
So she couldn't find anybody from 2013 till now?
Well,
That's what it is.
That would nobody from 2013 till now.
11 years.
let me see. That's for me, the rural area, it's hard for me. LCSW. I mean, she didn't explicitly say that it was impossible to do it for that much time, but
Well, she didn't go into, I had children, I couldn't
Right.
drive to.
Life has-
Yeah, she couldn't, she didn't explain all that, but
okay, then the second part of her request, I don't know if she's, it's a 1.5 hours to the supervisor. So I feel comfortable currently putting forth the motion to approve her request for the virtual supervision.
I'll second that.
So been moved by Jamie to approve the request for the virtual supervision. Is it for the,
Currently.
for
The
the?
supervisor,
Y'all
It's the second
decide?
request, no, we haven't made any
the first
decisions.
request hasn't been decided, the second request.
It's two different requests.
So can I ask a question or it's not?
Go ahead and ask a question.
So the supervisor she wants to use lives in Dallas, Texas. Is that,
It's not easy.
she has a Louisiana license.
Is that that's not okay?
This is another area that I have
Wouldn't matter if
difficulty
it's virtual.
understanding.
Cause the
I
Louis,
guess Emily's saying that there is no chance of face-to-face or in-person or emergency assistance.
no, I think the question is if if we have the authority to say she can provide supervision while she's in Texas.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Because that would be practicing in Texas.
Mhm.
This is my understanding of what current advice is.
well, she's doing practicing in Texas, but her client is in Louisiana. And she has a Louisiana license, so if she were doing telehealth, she could do that. So why is that, would that be different from doing back supervision? I mean, to me, it's, I maintain my license here in 5 other states. That's not true, but if I did, I can have clients in those 5 other states. Why couldn't I do supervision of master's level social workers for clinical licensure in those 5 other states? I don't,
Well, to your point, we did before, there was a person who was a travel worker who was out of town and her supervisor was here,
right,
but her supervisor was not approved in that state. So the supervisor could not work, we didn't allow it because the supervisor wasn't licensed in that state. So in this case, the person
licensed in
is.
both places.
It is licensed in the state. The only caveat to this is that this does not, the issue is that you're choosing a supervisor that's out of state.
Mhm.
Not that you're in a rural area and that's an issue, because you choosing a supervisor that's out of state. So that's the.
And there may be very good reasons. They may have experiences that the supervisee values. This person may specialize in something. They may have common demographic backgrounds that is hard to find someone that they feel like understands their whatever, however they're identifying. I mean, there could be various reasons, and
Yeah, but I agree that the supervisor should be, if she's licensed in Louisiana, she ought to be able to supervise.
But I think the thing is that she's saying the nearest supervisor is over an hour away. So either way it go, we're looking for virtual. And I guess the one she had found just so happens to be in.
Is there something in the rules?
We have the rule on supervision that talks about, out of state is opposite. It
Right.
contemplates that, you know, if the LMSW would be out of state.
Right.
But this, I mean, if the BACS is allowed, if the LCSW is allowed remote practice, it's kind of part of remote practice to supervise somebody when you're out of state in Louisiana, if you have the Louisiana license.
Can I answer the question? Are we approving supervision virtually with this specific supervisor? Or was Jamie's motion to approve her, to allow her to pursue virtual supervision?
I was approving her request, which was, it looks like it's virtual supervision. She put a potential supervisor. But if she's saying the nearest one is over an hour away.
To Candice's point for clarity, and I see where she's leaning at. Are we allowing this particular situation or for her to do this overall? I think what the clarity is, are we allowing her to engage in virtual supervision with Denisha Joseph, LCSW BACS for this particular situation? Or we're allowing her to engage in virtual supervision with whoever she picked, to Melissa's point? So we need that clarity. Is the motion to allow to approve virtual supervision with this existing supervisor who is licensed in Louisiana
Yes.
and licensed in Dallas, Texas, right? To
I
provide
don't know if she
this.
licensed in Texas.
This,
Well, it says lives in, but has, I don't know, she's licensed in Louisiana. First of all, I don't want to get into Texas. I don't regulate them. It don't, Louisiana. We only, well,
This ain't Texas.
we just need to know what the clarification
Yes.
is for the motion. And that's what, are you asking that,
Yes,
Candy?
that's what I'm asking.
So what's the clarification of the motion?
I don't think we should I don't think she should get blanket access to rural supervision remotely, regardless of who she picks. You see what I'm saying?
Just to approve the request to have supervision with Denisha Joseph.
If
So
that's,
that's the motion.
That's the
Okay,
motion.
is there a second to that? All right, moved by Jamie, seconded by Evan. Public comment
Evan
pertaining to
did not.
that. Who seconded? I heard you say something.
It was Evan.
I
It
did.
was,
You did.
yeah. we heard you.
I'm
right here.
Thing it down, y'all.
yes, you did.
It was the second request.
So, moved by Jamie, seconded by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to this motion that's on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, y'all, I think you were still in that other
Now, the
piece.
first one is what we're still looking at, the first issue.
To approve the 44 hours that
Yes,
were
no, it's
requested.
Over.
Or deny. Do we
Right.
have a motion regarding that?
well, the bottom, she has time frame fully virtual, 2 years or 3,000 hours of work.
Fully virtual, 2 years or duration of 3,000 hours, 96 supervision hours. What about the supervision from 2012, 2013? Have we decided on where we want to go with that request in the letter? Are we approving that? Because it was the existing rule, so my concern is switching it. I mean, she was already under the previous rule.
It was more hours.
Right, so wait, what are y'all thoughts about it? Should we?
I make a motion to deny the hours from 2012 to 2013.
Second.
It's been moved by Melissa to deny and offer compliance hearing, seconded by Trinity. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? All right, hearing none, motion carries. So we have two motions for that one, approve And then a deny and multiple. So I guess
It might come back.
when we write it up in the letter, we gotta make it clear for that for her. Next item on the agenda is a request to accept supervision for Carissa Bro.
We still in 4?
No, we just.
Five.
We're F now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we're going into, we should go into the next one now.
Letters.
Yeah, we should go into
Okay.
5, wherever it's at. So we're moving out of 4.
Oh, 226.
Well, it's okay.
Thank you.
Sharon.
Normally, I just have to ask a question because I'm just starting to see a little pattern. I've been being kind of quiet here for a while. But I'm just wondering what's happening where something is occurring where people are having challenges with completing things that's inserted me. I'm not trying to globalize it, but I'm just starting to see, it's a misstep or, and I'm just trying to, as I'm sitting on this supervision committee, trying to gather all this data, I'm kind of stuck in 2 roles. And so I'm wondering, I know that look,
No,
but I'm,
what's the specific thing?
I know, I'm
Because it's
trying to
been
get
the
to it.
same
I know.
Ask for,
I know, I'm just trying to think about creatively thinking of ways if we need to reinforce more training. I'm just thinking about, you see what I'm saying, Board? It's starting to be more of a.
So I have, and I'm starting to digress, y'all, and I've been trying not to, but I feel so strongly that we've got to have some, and I know it's a sort of me issue, and with the new system, hopefully it'll be, they can hover and instructions will pop up or something. That's what I'm picturing. But for now, I'm wondering if we can just post something
Yes,
on our website
yeah,
under supervision where it says supervisees to, and then list, I was out of concern, I'm not
Oh,
saying
that's
you
okay.
can't cough,
Oh.
I just didn't wanna talk while you were coughing,
Oh.
because then everybody would say that again, because I couldn't hear you. But I think we need to list what supervisors have a right to, so that they know your supervisor has to get, tell you
there
what the
has to be
contracts.
something there.
Right, and then explain secondary and primary supervision in the current system, what it means. And then also put a list of what the backs, you must ensure that blah, 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 because I think supervisors, some of them forget, or if you haven't been supervising in a while, then you go back to it, you might forget, or you never really paid attention at that first backs training. And you've been a backs for 3 or 4 years, and then you finally start supervising somebody. I'm wondering, all of this negligence that we see, if we have a listing on the website that
I just
shows.
feel like there's gotta be something that, I'm looking at patterns, y'all. I'm looking at data and not, go ahead.
I just want to speak to the sort of me, that you make one person responsible, but you give one person the ability to do it is the issue. So the backs is responsible, but the supervisee has the ability to do it.
To do what part?
So the contract, the backs doesn't get the contract until the supervisee initiates it. And then the backs has, if you're a backs, you've never seen the supervisor, you don't get that access to their.
But you shouldn't be doing it.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just talking about in the
Let's say it's
new
the opposite
platform,
way.
making
Right.
it so that the person who is ultimately responsible also has the ability, like, why is it that the supervisee starts it?
Well,
That's
this is a CERTA issue. We
Yeah.
can't, we can't
Right.
address that.
Let
We're,
me just say for
because
the,
we're gonna be getting a new system.
can I just say, it looks like this request has nothing to do with surgery.
She's asking, no,
So we're talking outside of this?
oh, no,
Just in
I
general.
just in general,
Oh, okay.
it's a pattern that
And it
that we can
keeps
see, it keeps
reoccurring.
continuing to happen, and I don't wanna sit here and ignore this pattern.
All
If
right.
this is a pattern, and maybe it is a situation where people are experiencing challenges with navigating through systems. And I cannot sit here, I've been sitting here quiet, I can't sit here and not acknowledge that. You know, especially sitting on this supervision committee and looking through all the stuff and the research that we're doing. I'm just saying that I'm hoping that we can get to a place where we can decide how we can better assist in this process. Is there, to Bora's point, do we post something else on the website? Do we say this is what, you know, again, just reiterate and do it again, because what's happening is I am still seeing a pattern. Somebody's missed a misstep. The email went to somebody the wrong way. Employment verification, somebody didn't.
HR got it.
HR got it and didn't miss it. Y'all, we have to start, and that's just the ask, but of course, it's the board's pleasure. We have to start looking at it from different angles and lenses, and that's just what I'm seeing.
you have to be
And
proactive.
I agree if there's a suggestion somebody wants to give, but if you go to the supervision page, it has the instructions.
I know.
So it's, how do we direct people to the right page?
That's a good
It's
point
like
too,
a,
Emily.
should be
I mean, this is
you can't, you know how you get a read receipt? I don't know if Certami can do this, but you know how you get a read receipt or you check this box? You know how they usually have a long contract that you don't read, but you just check the box so you could go to the next stage of it. But it should be something to that nature before the initiation of the supervision contract, before the initiation of the employment contract by the.
Melissa, so I don't mean to cut you off. We can't do it with
Change the
existing
system.
certificates,
Right, you're talking about the future.
When we do the future,
For the
we have
future.
we gonna do that, and that kind of dialogue, Melissa, thank you for that. We encourage that for the supervision committee, because we are getting to the platform point. But I'm saying right now, what can we do? To Emily's point, can we direct people more to go to the super? There has to be something else that we can do as this board to address this. That's all I'm saying. What it is, I don't have the answer. I'm surrounded by 7 other brains, but I'm telling you, people, what I'm seeing the pattern, and I don't have to be the loudest person in the room, because that doesn't always make it the right person, right? But we have to look at this, y'all, from a different lens, and these missteps are like, you know, and so what can we do? And I'm asking the board that. Do we want to move into the direction to reposting something on the website to say, you know, direct someone to hear, like, what can we do right now as
Well, it
this?
seems
board?
like what I see is the pattern the pattern I see
Mhm.
is that people don't know. So that's the reason why your question is a valid one. But what the problem that I see is that people don't realize that things are messed up until they are ready to move on. So all of these people have gotten to this point, and then when they're saying to the office that they're ready to do that, and the office say, well, we don't have this
This, this, and
contract.
that.
So all of that has been done already. So the people who are currently in the process, who may be doing it wrong, how do we let them know
Mhm.
that, because you could work with the future people,
Yes.
but the people who are doing it now, how do you let them know you're
That's our
doing it
point.
wrong?
That's our point, you know, and then how do we help them do it right? Like, I mean, how do we help them do it right? That's my position, because it's starting, I mean, we see it a lot. It's happening. It's missteps, you know?
How difficult, Emily, the website to add some verbiage on a tab, is that like a huge deal?
It's all there now. It's all there now. If you go.
Yeah, I know. What I'm
Well,
asking
people
is if
don't
we do a change on this,
Oh.
is it millions of dollars, and is it Certami that does it, or will it be the new
It
company?
depends on what you're
So
asking.
I have a suggestion. When you go on our website, at the top, those are tabs, okay? We've got About Us, and we've got Applications and Licensing Information. I suggest on that tab where it says Applications and Licensing Information, we put applications, comma, supervision, and licensing information. I don't know if that will draw more attention for supervisors or potential supervisors to click it. Because what they've got to do is go, what I see, imagine some supervisors doing is looking at that tab going, oh, I don't need to take responsibility for that. That's licensee information. And I'm wondering if that one little word will get supervisors to go to it more.
My question is this, if you're currently under supervision with your supervisor, what would make you go to the website and look at that tab? See, if you don't have a reason, if you think you're doing it right, so if there is a way, like for instance, like if you have to do your notes for the supervisor within 24 hours, I mean, do supervisors go back and retroactively? Because if it was a way when they logged in to do their next supervision or put their next, is there a notice that could come up?
Not insert me, not insert, and I'm not gonna promise that for the future platform either, because that may be an additional cost to the board, right? But to both of y'all's point, we still can educate. So for right now, right, because we can't do that, right? Not, Melissa, that's a great
Ask
idea.
this,
but
do
can't
we
do
know who's currently under supervision? Emily, like, do we know all of the people who are actively under supervision? Because if we did, we don't know, but if we knew, we could send a letter to all of those people and all of those supervisors saying, we see a continuing pattern and an issue. Please review your CERTME. But if we don't know who,
That's not so sure, because I think it would be.
That can go on a constant contact.
So
That's a definite, that's a great ask. And that can go, that's a constant contact, right? That could just go out through all
So
licenses.
instead of, so can I say this? Because I've been quiet.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it takes a lot to get me quiet. So instead of sending out constant contact, we have something that's called a website. Why don't we just post that on the website?
what I'm saying is,
And
if
just-
you're under supervision, I don't just go to this website for
Right.
GP. I mean, it ain't Facebook. So I mean, if there's not a
Or
reason.
post it in our newsletter.
It might be it might be an option to do both. It might be an
Website and
option to
newsletter.
do the website in constant contact, but I think us getting the information out, so people are aware, and I think that's our responsibility, and I'm a little concerned about how can we develop ways to inform the public more, so.
I think
Your-
put it on
recommendation
Facebook,
is-
let's send them to the Facebook notice. And let's just put it out there that we see a recurring pattern of incomplete, whatever.
We don't have a what?
I said, I don't think we have a social media manager or somebody who's actively posting.
I think that's
Emily-
Emily and her team.
Cause this
Okay.
benefits the
Not
B-sides.
and, there's no and her team. on it.
Emily.
I'm just saying.
Well, Emily, do you appreciate the work that you
So
do?
I've tried to do better with, posting on Facebook.
I'm just saying, we should just put a note, because word of mouth will get out there. Look, LABSWE has put out a notice that it is a pattern of people not submitting the correct paperwork. And before you continue, please, check your CERTME, look at the instructions or whatever, because I know if somebody told me that, so, oh, let me go check my paperwork. Because word of mouth will help it get out there if we post it.
So I'm hearing three things. I'm hearing webpage, I'm hearing constant contact, I'm hearing newsletter as
Yes.
well.
Emails.
That's a constant contact, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a constant contact. So I'm hearing that because I think people need to know, like, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if people, are they going back to check? Are they going back? The other thing on the other hand too, training too, and we're talking about that too as well, but that's a change to chapter 5, right? Refresher training and training on certain steps and being a little bit more technical with the training. So there's things that's happening, but right now, I'm those ideas. Y'all in agreement with that?
I think so.
And I'm pretty sure since we're having this dialogue today, there are many listeners that's gonna communicate this information
How
to
many
the
listeners we got?
licensees.
About 17.
There are currently, you will not believe this,
What's that?
63 people.
All right.
I'm pretty sure
Everybody.
I'm pretty sure this information is gonna be shared to the public and other licensees.
So with that being said, y'all, thank you for the recommendations, for that, and we will follow up with that, to provide more information on our end. Okay, so we are on that Carissa Bro.
Yes.
I appreciate you saying that, Madam Chair, because we do care. This is hard not to approve people's stuff. We see a pattern, we do care. And we want people, if you're doing it wrong, stop doing it wrong. Go check the thing, make sure you're doing it right. I think that's great. And it's,
Call the board, email the board.
that's what I know. I didn't want to say
Trinity
that.
will answer all of it.
You're gonna have 100 calls. Am I doing it right?
All right, y'all, okay.
We're still here, but.
So we are
I'm gonna go
still,
get the menus off of the, copying machine, because we're not gonna be finished at 11.
Okay, so
I was hoping we would, and I took the ball and ran.
Are you ready
Sorry
for
about
So,
that.
Madam Chair, appears we're still on this matter.
Yeah.
I'm having an issue with the end date. It appears the end date for Ms. Bro is incorrect under face-to-face supervision hours. It's stated that the start date is 10/2/2024, end date is 12/18/2024. I find that to be incorrect.
Yeah, that's just, they said they missed it with a number.
Yeah, they did. So it's like,
Is it the handwritten sticky note
Mhm.
from the?
I think the hand note stick correct,
I'll
is
go with
I
the
mean, it is
staff
correct.
say.
Right, but I just wanted to call that out because for a previous
Yeah.
matter, I went by that sticky note, but it appears that
The sticky note is actually always right.
it's,
That's what-
yes, that's sticky notes are correct.
Okay,
Thinking it should be a
all
phone.
right, are we at a point where we need a motion regarding this particular correspondence?
Motion to approve.
It's been.
From 10 to,
For Carissa Bro.
from motion to approve from 10/02/23 to 12/18/23.
It's been moved by
Take one.
Melissa to approve. It's been moved
The date
from,
again?
it's been
10/2/23.
moved, it's been moved by Melissa to approve this request from 10/2/2023 to 12/18/2023. Is there a second? There's no second. If there's no second, then the motion would die. We are still in discussion regarding this matter. It's been moved by Evan to deny and offer a compliance hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. Is there public comment pertaining to this motion? No. Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to accept supervision hours from Shanta Danny?
I make a motion to deny the request.
Second.
It's been moved by Jamie to deny. Seconded, who seconded?
Melissa.
Melissa seconded. Any public comments? Okay. Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request to accept supervision from Catherine Gallagher. Is to accept supervision. And let's see.
Emily, do you have a way of seeing if she initiated the contract in Certamy? Before this, before the supervisor actually signed it in October of 2023?
Yeah, well, you're saying Catherine Gallagher, did she start it?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so she started it when she started supervision? In May of 2023, May or June?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this request.
Second.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second by Evan? Any public comment?
None.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request from Ariana Lord to accept supervision.
So Florence is the problem.
Dang. Dana didn't know she needed a contract.
I think it's just, Ariana sent the wrong contract. And Florence didn't know how to fix it.
Mhm.
Florence isn't the problem. But who was her supervisor? Is that confused? But they both. Oh,
Dana.
that's Dana's,
That's what I'm saying.
because they work together too.
I love the timeline.
It is.
Yeah,
It's a little confusing still though.
Presented all this.
See where you got to the point. So the time in question is the time with Florence, right? It looks like the stuff with Florence is okay.
So
Patricia
Dr. Tubes.
Toops.
What is with these people being like, I'm sorry, I cannot complete the form that you need for
I know.
your
I
thing?
know.
That angers me
It pisses.
considerably. Sorry, I don't have time to do this thing that you need for your license.
Right, and all these.
This is self-report. You have to remember, we're not talking to these people. We don't know if these people, I just can't, it doesn't.
Text messages.
It is.
So she might have text messages.
I don't see them.
She ain't seen them, but she said she got them.
It's self-report.
So they're all complete now. And Emily, can you see where she sent it to that she initiated with Dr. Toops?
You said it.
Or,
Wonderful. And full, right?
hmm?
April, I think she's.
In the system.
Oh, she's talking about in the system.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is stressful to read.
Christmas. Purposely.
Wait, first step by primary still not submitted as oh, wait.
Contract was completed 2/21/2024.
Screenshots of certainly showing incompleteness in file. So they have it on the file, but not.
I can't tell.
Okay.
When I look at when they, so when the assignment was done, which means when it landed on her Certainty account, there's two contracts with 4/17/23 and one contract with 6/20/23.
6/20/23. That's the one with Dana had and Patricia Toops.
Yes.
Okay. So that's with, so she initiated the contract.
It looks the time lost is 5/23/23 to 12/20/23.
And so she initiated a contract in June, so that would have been that contract and that's within 60 days. So she did what she needed to do. She just had issues with the other persons completing their part.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yes, I'm ready for a motion.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trinity. Any public comment pertaining to the motion?
My hand raised from Ariana Lord.
Ariana, you're being recognized.
Hey y'all, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, okay, first of all, thank y'all so much for approving that. I've been watching, listening.
It hasn't been approved yet. You have public comment, but go ahead and make your
I'm
comment.
sorry, I'm sorry. I've been watching and everything since yesterday, and I had all my hours and everything calculated, but since it's looking pretty good, I'd like to take the time to talk about the issue with Certami, not with my back supervisor, but with
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Sorry, I can't do that. It has to be pertaining to the actual motion. And,
Yes.
and so, I can't allow you to go into specifics right now. Right now, the motion is to approve, but if you want to continue to, add more information, that would be your choice. But right now, it's on the verge of approval.
Nope, we're good, thank you.
Good choice.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Kristen Morsiglia requests to accept supervision.
So this person lost March 2023 to December 2023. And the backs did their part in April of 2023. So the supervisee and the backs did their part. It was the employer step that was missing. That wasn't sent until February 2024 and the contract, right? So it's two issues.
Yeah. Yeah, the employment step was sent on February. Oh.
So the contract isn't, it looked like they did their part. More so the employment step, are they talking about the contract or the employment verification hours?
Looks like the employment step, the agency employer step on both. On both the acknowledgement section and the employment verification.
So it was sent but not completed.
Yeah, so the LMSW and the backs. It looks like from
Yeah, but
this,
they were
they
supposed to do it,
completed
yeah.
it within the 60 days. And then it didn't get completed till 2/29/24 by the agency supervisor.
So I think it's probably fine. I would move to approve.
I second that.
It's been moved by Evan. I'm gonna give it to Bora this time, Trinity, okay? Seconded by Bora. Any public comment? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on
Who
the,
was the mover? I apologize.
Evan and Bora second.
Thank you.
Rachel B. Bolsky. Request to accept supervision. I do want to take this time to thank our licensing analysts for all of the work that they are doing in terms of reaching out to supervisors and supervisees and helping them through this process and letting them know to kind of check. They're doing like little lightweight audits, if y'all can see, right? And then they're reaching out and contacting people and saying, hey, you need to look at this, and helping them, walking them through the steps over the phone. So I want to acknowledge our two licensing analysts, Sarah Banks for all of that work, Blake Williamson for doing that, and also assisting Emily Wood, providing additional information to us so that when it gets in front of us, we're more informed of the decision. So a shout out to our licensing analysts, Sarah and Blake, for this work. Regina, I see you in here too now, but thank y'all so much.
So there was an existing paper employment supervisor contract. For the first job, but then there appears to not have been an effort to do one whenever they moved to the second job. Am I understanding that correctly?
The reason I'm confused is the supervisor letter. Says, I want to clarify, I've been her only supervisor during this time and she has remained an employee of our Lady Lake through this entire time as well.
Mhm.
So that has thrown me into a little. I would have agreed with you before I saw that,
But maybe not. Right,
because it's showing up for Fresenius.
that's how you see that.
Yeah. Fresenius.
She said, did she change her backs?
That is Elizabeth, according to the
You
sticky.
may have gotten a second job
Yeah, that may, yeah.
at Fresenius and stayed at Our Lady, because now the hours are different, right?
Mhm.
So she may have gotten a second job.
Only works an interwell. And no contract.
It should be done.
Yeah, but she passed the exam.
We passed the exam already. I think she would be done.
Yeah, she finished, they said she finished.
And it just says, I didn't know I needed a new contract
Well, it says,
in the second paragraph.
if she was at the same job, why would she need a second contract if she
But
didn't
she got a new
need the
job too.
It's a part-time job, right?
Yeah,
I
but
don't assume. I'm just
It's-
having to make a
So
assumption.
maybe she was under the thought that since she remained at the same employer, even though she received a part-time job, she didn't think that she needed an additional contract. Because she remained at our
Just
lady.
use those hours from that other job.
Right, and she needed an additional contract, but she remained at Our Lady of the Lake, so, oh, I don't need another
I
contract
can
because,
see you would think
right.
that, but I would
So-
Right,
say that's.
she still needed an additional contract.
So, but the record here does not indicate that this job was actually an additional part-time job.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say that. I'm
It doesn't
just
say when she
simply-
ended employment.
So I'm confused, which is, and the remedy for confusion by the board is a
Compliance hearing.
compliance hearing.
I agree,
So for that reason, I would move to deny.
and I'll second that.
So it's been moved by Evan to deny with the compliance hearing being offered, second by Trinity. Any public comment?
I have a hand raised from Rachel Verbulski.
Hi, Rachel, you being recognized.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Also, I'd just like to thank you for pronouncing my last name correctly. I know it's a long one. I just wanted to provide some additional clarification. I was employed at Our Lady of the Lake throughout the entirety of my supervision. And we were under the impression that because I was employed the whole time, that I didn't need to do an additional supervision contract since I had the same supervisor. I absolutely would have completed one, and it never populated on my Certimi, which I, from listening to you guys, now I know like you had to go in and like get it populated. But I just wanted to provide that clarification that I was working at the lake the whole time in addition to Fresenius.
Thank you, Rachel. Any other public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions?
I object.
It's noted for the record, Melissa objects to the motion on the floor, so we are going to need to do a roll call. The motion on the floor is to deny and offer a compliance hearing. You're voting yes to approve the motion on the floor.
Jamie Barney,
No.
Evan Bergeron,
Yes.
Melissa Haley,
No.
Trinity George,
No.
Candy Saraparu,
No.
Horace and Sari, no. 5 no's, 1 yes.
So
So
I'll
I'd
make
like
a mo-
to, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion and go ahead and approve her request.
I second it.
All right, so it's been moved by Trinity to approve, seconded by Melissa. Any public comments pertaining to the motion on the floor?
No public comments.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carried.
So I do want to say, she provided the attestation here. And it is, the language is confusing in this incident. It says, number one, I agree to invite any employer. Then it says further down, if I agree, if I switch jobs. So that's where the double standard comes in, because it does say you'll invite any employer, but it says then it goes on to say switch jobs. She didn't switch jobs, so it could appear to me that there are other people who could be in this situation that it would impact them the same.
Thank you, Melissa. You didn't have to provide an explanation, but it's okay as a courtesy.
I don't always go Trinity on y'all, but I just kind of felt that way.
I'm gonna start with the motion. It's okay. All right, next item on the agenda is request to accept supervision for Courtney Kidd.
Where is that one?
I think it's listed.
It has her name, it has the name. Simplify with their name.
Let's see. And I see them. That is so amazing.
That's what I have.
It's under, like,
Five.
pending complaints, like correspondence.
It says correspondence, Courtney Kidd.
It's toward the bottom. It's toward the bottom, it's under the 3.8 page. That's the state's on 3.8.
Okay.
It's 3/5 and 11.
Whoa,
Okay, I see that.
Fixed it.
There it is. Yeah.
fixed it.
Not certain. Oh, have no upload on my cert. User different.
So your documents are not uploaded.
Or, okay, so this person is missing August 16th to November. So then they do the contract to board. Let's see why, I go backwards. Yeah. Systemic error in notifying me of the lack of contract.
Does it show when she started the process for contracting?
Contract was assigned,
Yes.
one was assigned 10/6 of 23, and a second supervision contract was assigned 2/22/24.
22.
They didn't have like an uploaded paper contract or anything, right? The reason I was asking is because the supervisor notes that the contract was in place. But they didn't know there was another step needed. So, I would see if they didn't have paper or so. Something.
So this is, I didn't know I needed a supervision contract.
No, this is, it says I thought I did one.
I thought I did one.
Yeah, which is different than I didn't want to do.
What she said she thought she did.
She said she's
I don't see it as a,
in her. I think she said she did it.
Oh, I saw her say Certainly didn't tell me something.
Around October, I logged in for one of my routine checks. I saw a new tab that had been open, supervision contract. This is new. Due to being new, I assumed it was new to us to complete on Saturday, quickly completed it. Once it was completed, I had no further steps for the tape.
Didn't the colleague tell her she didn't, and so. that
Therefore, I
made her
believed I
have
was
to
good to
check.
go.
That's why she followed.
So because
up.
Certainly didn't alert her to do something.
She
didn't
said
think
she did
needed-
that in October, and then it was not until my coworker mentioned someone reached out, and then she checked and realized it wasn't done.
Right, so she looked in October.
And she said she did it.
Where do you see that at?
This is, I assumed it was something new for us to complete on Certamen and quickly completed it.
Right, so this is in 2020.
October. I don't know, she don't have the year, she said.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It says I started my supervision on 8/16 around October, so it doesn't have a year.
Okay,
I don't wanna make an assumption, but it does say she thought she did one. Now, I don't know when she thought she did
okay, I
one,
see what you're saying.
but it does say that. October of what year, I don't know.
Okay.
Now, Emily is saying she saw one in October of 23.
Oh, you saw something out, Emily?
An
October
assignment, so
of
for that
23.
particular contract, the first supervisory session was 8/16 of 22. And it looks like the supervisor
I didn't see
did their part 11/30 of 23.
Then she did another one on 1/23/24.
That's probably when the employer, they fired.
That's before.
I think so. I think so.
So so if it's October 2023, then I'm wondering if they have a paper contract or something. That's not here. Emily said you said you didn't see
I
anything?
didn't see
Okay.
anything uploaded. I don't have her. I don't have her paper folder in here. I'm not sure why we would have a paper folder on her, because it looks like everything that she's done with us has been since Certame,
Okay,
and not when we were doing the paper supervision.
okay,
I might be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me.
okay.
Cause she didn't even get the LMSW until July 6th of 22, and we weren't taking paper forms then.
Okay. Thank you. I was just wondering, because he noted that they had a contract in place, so I was trying to see. Well, I'm gonna make a motion to deny. For compliance.
It's been moved by Jamie to deny off a compliance hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Is there any public comment to this motion?
I have a hand raised from Leslie Cortana.
Leslie Cortano, you're being recognized.
I'm so sorry. I think I hit that button by mistake.
Any other public comment?
I have a hand raised by Courtney Kidd.
Courtney, you're being recognized. Courtney, you being recognized.
But
Courtney, you being recognized. Any other public comment?
no other public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda,
Can we take a break?
okay, so, I'm having two board members asking for a break, a 5-minute break. So at this time, we'll take a brief break. It's 10:59. We'll be back at 11:05.
Everybody today, my charting?
Are you able to,
Breathe real quick.
are you able to, mute?
No, I can't. You have to do that.
I don't think so.
When I'm
Wait,
Oh, we are back. It is 11:05, and we are now on 7A, report on office workflow and staffing.
Right, so requests for early testing at the master's level, we've had 39. Requests for early testing at the clinical level, 8. Early testers issued the LMSW 4, early testers issued LCSW 9. LMSWs issued that were not early testers, 38. LCSWs, not early testers, 20. 17 backs, 133 retake applications, 112 supervision contracts approved. Other supervision approvals total 40. Background checks mailed to LSP 53, license verifications 97. We've received 27 complaints. 11 we've requested a written response. We haven't sent any to formal investigation. We have 3 that are still under consideration. They were the ones received closest to the board meeting. We had 9 not accepted because the individual is not a social worker, and 4 not accepted because the situation wasn't a violation of the Practice Act or rules. Any questions?
Any questions, y'all?
That was thorough, concise, detailed, to the point.
Okay, thank you, Emily. And again, kudos to those lights and analysts. We see the work and thank you so much. It helps out the board a lot. We see you, Regina, too. We see you too. So thank y'all, staff, for everything. Thank you, Emily. All right, right now, we're gonna go to 7B, status of rules promulgation. Sherry, that's you. Take it away.
Okay, it's kind of been a little hold right now with the change of administration because the OLRC hasn't been appointed or scheduled a meeting, but that is expected to be done shortly. I have a message, I was gonna try to pull it up, that we got yesterday.
I don't know if people could hear you, Sherry. I'm sorry, bless your heart, because you have a nice soft voice. I want you to project that status of rules promulgation again so people could hear. Thank you.
So the status of the rule promulgation is we do have an approved fiscal statement. And the next step is to go to the Occupational Licensing Review Committee, which is a committee appointed by the governor. And because of the change in the governor's office, that committee has not been appointed and or set a meeting date yet. The committee is required to meet quarterly. And so they've kind of missed the first quarter, it appears. That would be by the end of March. But we got a message yesterday saying that they're moving forward with that. So there are a lot of rules that, according to the register, that are waiting to move forward. Hopefully, maybe April they'll meet, but we don't have a definite date yet.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions to Sherry regarding the status of the rules promulgation? Where we are with that.
Just say promulgation one more time, just one more time.
All right, there's no questions for Sherry. Oh, Sherry, you still on 7C, status of the contract with Covalent.
It's done, but there is, we don't know exactly what it has to do to be approved, but the contract
It's been
itself is signed by
by
both sides.
both us and Covalent. Then Covalent asked me for a PO number. I've never had to get a PO number. So I have the inquiry in with the procurement office and see what I have to do with them so that we can move forward.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Did they give us a schedule yet? That we were waiting for a schedule from Covalent as well.
Covalent hasn't given me a schedule.
Okay,
That's the next step.
okay.
So they need a PO from us.
It sounded like to me when I asked what the next step was, they're not gonna move, Covalent's not gonna move forward with anything until they have a PO number. And I'm not sure about that.
They giving you some money? They purchased it. I never heard of that.
Do we have a contract number for this contract? That we just have a contract, right? So with, Certame, we paid them by check, is that right? From our
Yes.
account, yeah. So does Covalent understand we're not a state agency
That's
or
what I
a board?
want.
They have,
I don't know, for various
Share.
contract, all I can, I don't know. We're not a state agency under the state's budget, but various contracts have various requirements. Like my contract has to go in certain places. The CERTA contract was just approved by the board and paid by the board. But, you know, if there's a change in procedure since we did the last contract or something,
Administration.
that's what Emily's trying to verify, but I'm not familiar with what they're asking for either.
They're used to working with state agencies and they pay through a PO.
Right, but one of their contracts is with another licensing.
several
board.
of their contracts are
There's
with other
licensing
licensing
board.
boards.
And they got those.
So can the inquiry be, I'm just trying to figure out how we can help accelerate this process from, on your end, Sherry, like, can you provide that clarification with them or talk with them and let them know you may not need a PO with us? Because typically we haven't had to do that before to get that going.
Emily
Just asking.
obtained a copy of one of their other POs and sent it to state procurement to get state procurement to advise whether or not it needs a PO.
So when's the effective date of the contract? Is it based on the signature? Is it based on the payment?
It was our understanding it was gonna be based on the signatures.
Well, it's not to our advantage if the contract is rolling and they're not rolling because they haven't been paid. So, we may need to say pending, you know, the payment of the process, that'll be the beginning of the contract, because we don't know how long that'll take.
We
Well,
can't pay
hopefully it
them
won't take long.
real
This
time.
just came up this week. So hopefully this coming week we'll have some resolution to that.
So can we, give ourselves a date? Like by this particular date, we need to notify CERTA that the contract's not gonna start until the check is cut because, covalent, I'm sorry about that, too many C's.
It's not upfront.
Traumatized.
The first step is that they have to give us a schedule. We have to work with that schedule
Okay.
first. So, and that's gotta be timed to work with our licensing system and also with the transfer of the data. So, that's what we're waiting on. We can make a request to them, that if we need a PO, we'll get a PO, but can you give us the schedule? Because I thought that their last email said that they would be putting together a schedule. So we can renew our request, just give us a schedule.
Yeah, let's
Um,
get that schedule from them, as well, so.
Because it's been approved by the board, the
Mhm.
contract's been
It's
signed.
been approved, okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is 7D. The board received a, request to complete a survey on the disparity in licensure pass rates. But that we received the survey with the request of getting it done within 2 weeks. And it's like, we can't get this done within 2 weeks. I basically said, no, I need to bring this before my full board, first of all, get approval to see if we can send the survey out to the licensees. And then also we need a window of time to do that. So, they replied back and they said, no worries. We want this data. We want Louisiana to participate, because I let them know if you want Louisiana to participate in this data regarding test disparities, we need more time and I need to get my board to give permission. So they extended the window of the survey to March 31st. I believe that's the window. So if you guys take a look at the request, and if you are allowing, them to give us the information, we will then send the information out to the licensees. We are not going to release licensees' addresses, telephone number, email, or whatever. We're not gonna do that.
Where is titled?
It's board staff WKU survey.
Thank you.
You have a list of the questions.
Do we have?
I didn't read it, but we don't have the questions.
I don't have a
So they
question.
did not provide that information to you.
That I do not
They
have.
gave us a link.
Yes, I did. I do see that, but I didn't click on it.
I feel like we received requests for this in the past and we found that it was inappropriate for the board to send it out to the licensees. That's what
We
I
received something similar.
remember correctly.
I wasn't sure if this was from this provider,
Yeah,
but we received something similar.
Yeah.
It has something to do with we did ask about the questions with one survey. I know we looked
We
at the
did
question.
from another
Yeah, it was a
provider.
Yeah.
student that we asked
Presentation.
the question.
And then we also did the timeline again, like.
But that one I think was about billing or something, huh?
It was.
Yeah, it was
And the
about
questions
business.
didn't have
I think it was
anything to do with
Medicaid or,
what they-
This here is, participate in a survey examining the disparities in the social work licensure pass rates among people of color and those aged 40 and over.
Mhm.
That's the specific, intention of the survey. We are examining the factors that impact disparity in pass rates for social work licensure, its impact on social work profession, and solutions to reduce this disparity. It is anticipated that the survey will take you about 20 to 25 minutes to complete.
Mhm.
This a ASWB grant, I believe. Can you click that? This is one of their grants for, I bet.
It's not clickable.
Oh, it's
So
not
that's the way
clicking.
there's a PS.
Copy the
It's a
hyperlink.
scanned copy and you can't just click on
Oh,
it.
So, do we know who WKU?
yeah, that's
That's the
I'm-
university?
Cause that's
That's
Western
Western
Kentucky
Kentucky
University, and they have a ASWB grant, and it's about disparities.
I just typed.
They're
it
at the
and it
BPD
didn't-
conference. That's the only reason, I mean, they got a sneaker ball.
Oh.
I see guys and I'm making a sneaker.
You-
She trying to outdo me.
So, yeah, so that's
I
what
just
this is
typed
on
the
there
link
for.
in,
I
but
don't
I
wanna
can't
put,
get in it.
I'm not gonna put it, I didn't, what I wanted to say, I wasn't going to release without getting y'all consent to do so, or either way, deny or whatever.
Right, I would want a list of the questions.
I mean, it's these questions, we can't get to them.
Right.
BXS1E69E.
Well, I think if you ask for a list of the questions,
That's right.
that might generally, they don't wanna give you the.
Well, it's gonna close on March 31st either way,
I know,
so if
so
they
we don't-
give a list, we can't meet to vote, either way.
We don't have the IRB approval.
We don't meet until April, so.
I do think, the licensure surveys are important. I mean, just important to, I think it's, the social work census is open. I just think it's important, so I'm good.
I believe this one is to examine the survey examining disparities in social work licensure pass rates among people of color and those aged 40 and over. So it'd be whatever you guys decide, whatever, but I didn't wanna do it without getting the board's approval. And I will need a motion to approve or deny this request.
Did
I'm about to
you
look
give your
now.
thoughts about it? I mean, you're the exam committee chair.
I'm actually looking to see when we meet.
Is it a capacity issue? Would it bring about some stress on the board to?
No, it's not a capacity issue.
Okay.
It's, does the board feel like this is within their authority to do? Because there's lots of people that do surveys.
Right.
So the board can't just send out surveys on everybody, what they're studying for their what they're doing for their thesis,
We've had this discussion.
that kind of stuff. So you need to be able to tie it back to regulation.
And we had this discussion in the past regarding the last matter that came before us.
I definitely agree, and I would assume that a regulation would address if we're what type of studies, because this is a research study. So I think that's what I would assume. I hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying.
Okay, so what were you saying?
I just, it's a little I think it should be an official position, but it is difficult if our state does not participate in research. You know what I'm saying? If we're, now it may be what type of research or limited research, but if we don't participate in research, then how do we measure impact and effectiveness on our on the people in our community, are the people that we're servicing. So I definitely think there should be some parameters, but it would be difficult to say if we don't participate.
I agree, but I can't even access this link that they've given us. It's just not,
Mhm.
so I would like, we asked them for the list of questions and they send us this link that we can't even access. And I've typed in every word.
Well, to be clear, I didn't ask for the list of questions. I did not ask for that. No, ma'am. I only just told them that, one, the timeline is too short and I gotta bring this to my full board to ask permission. So I didn't ask for the questions, so,
Because they gave us this link that is not working for me. I mean,
Mhm.
it says not found, and so I'm not against participating in research or considering it. It's just, we need information.
Here, let me show you. I think this is it. Hold up. I mean, if you.
all right,
So the
while you
exam
looking it up,
committee
Melissa.
are expertise.
Yeah, give me
My question is,
I'll
why does
call
it have to
you.
come through us as the regulatory body? Why can't it go through something like NASW?
NASW and
Yeah.
other associations.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just.
To your point, that's why I know what it is. That's why I know, that's why I'm familiar with this particular one, because it did come to an association. That's why I am familiar, to your point.
And that's the staff.
The association you're affiliated with, share it with your email list or your members.
Well, they're actually gonna come to the conference and do the survey. But that's because but to your point, that is another way to gain access.
I think definitely they should be
Mhm.
reaching out to all the associations.
Those are the
with
questions.
social Work out there.
So we know if you wanna just, those are the three
So
questions.
where we are as a board regarding this, do we have a motion regarding this, request?
But
Or
then,
anyone, whether we-
I guess I understand that, cause here is, the questions are, here,
Yeah, I don't
these
have
are
an
the
issue
questions
with
right
those
here.
questions at all.
But I guess, Jamie, to your point, to Emily's point, since you are over licensure, if you want to look at these questions, I don't know, I'm sorry, exam, if you think that this may have, impact.
Those three questions, I don't have an issue with that.
Is three questions?
Yeah, it's three. I don't have an issue with those questions.
Gotta be more than three questions if it's taking
It
20 to
it has
25.
the purpose, it has like what the goal of the study is, but
The research questions.
Research questions, research questions.
Right.
That's what it is.
But yeah.
So they may have multiple choice or.
Well, it says it's
Well, I
gonna
don't
take
know.
20 to 25 minutes to
Right.
complete. So
So the exam committee meets next week. We definitely would be interested in the results of the survey. I don't know if we,
So could we make a motion depending on the decision of the committee?
no, ma'am, because the survey closes on March 31st.
But you said it meeting next week.
But we're not meeting again to make a motion to approve
I
or
think she's
deny it's
asking
going out.
if the exam committee can do something, if this board can give the exam committee authority to do something.
To make the
I think that's what
decision.
she's asking.
That's what I was saying.
Or to delegate the exam committee.
Could a motion
authority?
be made to that we would defer the decision to submit, to make it available based on the committee?
That's what y'all wanna do.
But Evan had something.
Well, that's what I think you were saying.
And that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
he said he
said-
thinks
I
it should
said-
go through association.
Yeah, I don't know why it should, I sort of have an issue as the regulatory board to come in from us. I don't have a problem with the survey itself and its goals, I just feel like it should go through professional associations, not through us. Just me.
The only issue with that is that I'm not gonna say not all, the majority of our licensees are not the licensees in the state of Louisiana are not members of professional organizations. So if it was a higher percentage, it it would be great, but if, like, what I would think is that we would benefit from knowing how our people in our community have fared compared to other people in the country. So that's the only difference about that. Is that the sample pool
So
is.
my other concern is about the parliamentary exam committee. If you do not have a quorum, then this is gonna be a situation for the board as a whole, if people don't show up. And so they won't even be able to make a motion if they don't get a quorum. They still go on with their meeting, but they won't be able to make a motion. And this is something that's gonna require a motion. That would be my piece if we put it on the committee.
Okay.
Well,
So I'm gonna,
Go ahead, Trina.
I think the information is beneficial. I think we need the information. It's gonna help our licensees in the public. So I'm gonna make a motion that the survey be administered to our licensees.
It's been moved by Trinity to allow the survey to be administered to the licensees in our state. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Is
The
there?
motion is for the board to transmit the information, right?
Right, oh, yes, that's right, you're right, yeah, thank you for
Anybody,
clarifying
I
that.
think anybody can take it.
Right, you
Okay.
clear for
Thank
that, thank you,
So I need to.
Share, yeah, amended, I think we were thinking the same thing, because we had that
Yeah.
discussion, but clear your motion.
Okay, so I make a motion for the survey to be transmitted to our licensees in the state of Louisiana.
Second.
Was that worded correctly? Okay, that's what I thought. I wanted for our,
Moved by Trinity, seconded by Melissa, any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. ASWB social work census. Emily, do you want me to talk about it or do you want to talk about it? She shook me out. ASWB has placed out regarding a social work census. I want to tell you that I do not have the website up, but if you do Google social work, you have it, good, Melissa. If you do go Google social work census, the census is opened on March 1st. I want to take a moment and just take the time and just pull it up. So I want to be reading. It opened, March 1st, and it's gonna stay open until, I think, the end of May. And so it is, the opportunity to collect data on the social work workforce. I'm understanding that the survey, takes about 20 minutes to complete, just some questions about what type of social work you are you, what specialization you practice in. Because we are recognizing that there are some workforce issues that we are discussing in our profession. And so I believe it, like I said, it opened in March and it closes at May. It doesn't require us a motion regarding this, it's just information to share about taking the social work census. Okay, we are not sending out any links to the census to our licensees. I want to say that. Get that on the table. It's just information about the social work census.
I was just about to send it to you.
Yeah, please don't
I
say
knew
that.
I was about to send it to you.
Not sending links out.
I was
Wanna
just
get this
saying.
information out. Okay. The next item on the agenda is proposed legislation from NESW, and if you would give me a minute, I need to pull my paper copy out. I had it from the supervision committee, so. But it is in it's in there, but I'm looking for my looking for my paper copy, so yeah, give me a second. Yeah, I got it. Okay. So, the intention was to have committee reports on the agenda, but because the agenda got so healthy with a lot of information from the public, we had to move that. And again, we had that conversation that our committee reports will be on the May at the May meeting. So committees apologize for that. I know we wanted to bring stuff in front of the board for this March meeting, but we just couldn't do it. So with that being said, the supervision committee met a few weeks back. And prior to the supervision committee meeting, I received an email from the executive director of NESW LA, Texas, asking me to get this information and share what's in front of you to the full board and the appropriate committee. And I agreed to do so. What you have before you is a proposed supervision legislation by NESW. That conversation about collaboration, research, and inform, just following that same, discussion that we had about strategic planning, NESW provided this information as they proposed legislation. So I brought it before the supervision committee. We reviewed it. And there was some changes, but again, our role is not to, propose legislation, right? But I think the intention of the request, and I don't want to speak for Will Francis, was to let us take a look at it, and just kind of give a little feedback. So we did that. There's been some consistent dialogue in the supervision committee, and I don't want to make this about a committee report because our report is going to be extensive and long, probably. There's been some dialogue at the supervision committee as well as this board about the word virtual, right? There has been some significant conversation about the word virtual. Individuals that are in education and they are engaging in learning platforms. We have been using the word synchronous and asynchronous throughout the rules that's been proposed from the rules committee, as well as moving forward with supervision. So we're talking about proposed change legislation. We want to try to keep aligned with what the trend is, right? National. So that was one of the recommendations to NESW to that word virtual is not sitting well with the supervision committee, nor does it pan well with the full board. We've brought some concerns about that. The discussion was more about empowering NESW to do more research around the most trending language nationally now. The word that's mostly used based on the data that the supervision committee has been doing, right? The research national data. It's remote has been a word has been used more often, and introducing the word telesupervision, right? Based on research. So our recommendation to NASW was to use language that not imply asynchronous and not imply individually paced supervision, because supervision, in our opinion, is an educational experience, right? It's an interactive educational experience between the supervisor and the supervisee. And if you have the word virtual, it leaves that option of independent study. It leaves the option of watching a video and then, going do an after test. That's not what supervision is. It's very interactive between the supervisor and supervisee. So the recommendation of the committee was, okay, proposal, but the word virtual didn't sit very well. Also, a change, and I will add, we opened the floor for public comment, and he got on and clarified, he wanted to make sure that a word that was used was, what did he say? I don't want to quote him, but something to the effect, expansive, right? But again, we don't support the word virtual.
So wait a minute, let me add to your point where it says virtual supervision must adhere to the same standards and guidelines as in person. So that, because I hear what you're saying, like a video or whatever. I mean, doesn't the in-person means it has to be still face-to-face live, right?
So the challenge with our position as a board is that this is proposed legislation written by NESW. And so we can't sit here and like dissect piece by piece and tell them how to write their legislation. So it makes it very tricky for us, right? And I understand your question. To your question, maybe someone from the association and the lobbyists, whoever that wrote this, could answer your question. But us as a board, we're not going to answer that question because regardless, we are regulators, right? So whatever's before us, if it passes, then we regulate. But the supervision committee during that meeting was able to well, and I can't provide this yet, we have it ready, but it's not on the agenda. We defined what telesupervision was, and our recommendation was to take what we defined as telesupervision and what we defined as in-person supervision and put that in your proposed legislation, right? Right, introduce that, because when you start introducing definitions, which we have definitions in the Practice Act, you need to put those definitions in the Practice Act. So we can't get into that piece, well, advising them legally, being their lobbyists and all of that. The feedback was for them to go do more research on the word virtual and try to find a word that's more aligned with national research that what we have done and what the board has said is, relates to what's happening nationally. So that's a good question, but it's not a question for us as a board to answer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then also the other recommendation, and that could have been a typo, I don't know, that a supervision committee member pointed out was the word license should be, a D should be on that. Supervision between a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed master social worker, not licensed. So that was also pointed out, but I am bringing it before the board, so the board knows that this is a proposed legislation by NESWLA. It's not required, a motion's not required for us. This is just that piece when we talk about collaboration, research collaboration and form, and bringing this to y'all attention.
I'm gonna ask a question that you may or may not be able to answer.
Mhm.
This is just legislation to change definitions. Am I correct?
Right, so what it appears as though it's a little bit more than that, right? So the first section, the 2703 says definition, but then the 2707 talks about the qualifications, right? And so the stuff that's, y'all have the stuff underlined, right?
I
Do you
see
have-
it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
the change.
So the underline is the change.
Got it.
So I
Okay.
want you to point that out. Some of this stuff is already in, the underline is the
The
change,
changes.
the
Okay.
proposed changed. But, when legislation happens, they sometimes, oftentimes, Emily could attest to this and maybe Evan, they'll ask the board for, just the educational side, like but not, we don't write it. We don't write the legislation, right? They may say a little, ask the feedback. So that's the feedback that we, provided during the supervision committee meeting. So.
I appreciate the dialogue and collaboration between NASW and the supervision committee.
Yeah, we.
I like seeing that, because it's weighing different perspectives on some work.
And to the supervision committee's point, I appreciate them, bringing that to the attention and pointing that out and all of that good stuff. But just to have y'all, just to have. Okay, so that does that. Next item on the agenda is a IOC continuing education request from Dr. Rebecca Chason, who serves on I think Dr. Chason is the chair of the, co-chair of IOC. I believe so, because Carmen Wiesner serves as the chair, and, the request is outlined. Let me, pull it up. There it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so, the request is directed to the board, but also directed, to me. And, I certainly hope that you all got a chance to review it. And do you have any questions about the request made from the IOC?
I feel like this question is come up before. Yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was yesterday. I thought we only can do.
I was something that was discussed in executive session, you all, and we're gonna bring it out.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanna,
Say it again.
yeah, I just wanna help you.
So are we responding to the questions here?
Yeah, to your point, Jamie, So, Dr. Bourne, well, Jamie was saying that this has been brought up before, and so, what I'm glad, so what we're gonna do is, the best way to do this, because I was gonna move to 9A anyway, Melissa. But because it is closely aligned with some similarities of 9A, you know, the ask that I'm seeing here is, 3 questions. Can a board with current regulatory statutes mandate cultural responsiveness and social justice continuing education content, right? That's the specific ask. Will the board add this content to its continuing education requirements? Is the other question. And then 3, it says, can we receive an official written response from the board's attorney? And so the answer to those questions is yes, we will have an official written response from our board's attorney with the permission of the board. Recognizing that there are some limitations to the board. I think that the assumption or the belief is that the board has more power than it actually does. And what we are learning and what we're discovering is that the board does not have as much power as it appears that it does, right? Particularly in this issue as it relates to continuing education requirements. So we will have a letter of opinion from our attorney to answer these 3 questions that's posed by Dr. Chason and the IOC.
Well, 2, so it can't answer the one of them.
Well, can we receive official written response? So, yep, we answered that.
Number 3 can answer number 1.
Right, and number 2, right, and so we will get, so to this letter request of an official written response from the board's attorney will be provided to answer these questions. And so I just wanted to, any other questions about this matter? Okay, so I will move on to 9A. And saying that, and speaking with our legal counsel, I do have permission to expand a little bit about 9A. And because we're not in executive session, I got the approval to do so. 9A, I received an email from NESWLA Texas Executive Director requesting information as it relates to very closely aligned to the question about the board's ability to add continuing education requirements to licensees. And he submitted this information in the context of BACS, the BACS designation, the designee, and also in context to, do we have the ability to add continuing education requirements to licensees? He requested that we get a legal opinion from our attorney, who's Sherry Morris, and she has done that. I do have an official legal opinion regarding the question that NESWLA posed to us regarding continuing education. That letter will be sent to Will Francis, NESWLA. And I just wanted to, take the time to just say that we've received that request and a legal response and opinion is drafted. With that being said, any additional questions from the board regarding 9A?
Would that letter be made public to public? Yeah, public.
So the letter is going to Will Francis. The letter was directed to me, and being board chair, I'm going to send that letter right to him. And I mean, he has a right to do whatever he wants to do with that letter. I can't tell him what he can and cannot do with the letter.
Will it also be
The letter
shared?
was, my opinion to Dr. McKee was attorney-client privilege. However, she has the right to waive that privilege to provide it outside of the board members and staff. And so if she has decided that she wants to deliver that letter to Mr. Francis, and when she does send it to Mr. Francis, it then becomes a public record. So it is available.
Being that, we just talked about how closely related the request was from Dr. Chason, are we sending that same letter to her, or are we telling her to, like, what is our response to that?
So her response, her questions are a little slightly different than what Will Francis' questions are. And so, my ask to Sherry is to draft a legal opinion to answer
Okay.
her question specifically.
Okay.
And, you know, in all fairness, because she directed her request to me as well.
Right.
And so what I need to be making sure Will gets his letter before everybody else can. In all fairness, he sent that to me. And so my responsibility is to make sure that Will gets that letter.
So I understood exactly what Sherry said.
Mhm.
In the last thing she said, once it goes to him, then it will be public. So I guess because that's what I don't understand. When you're saying once it goes to him, because you're gonna send it to him and you say then it becomes public, what does that mean?
Okay, so the board has some records that are confidential or privileged, and those don't leave the office or the board members. And then the rest of the records maintained by the board are public records.
So
So
how
it
can they be
becomes-
accessed?
By request.
Okay, that's what I was just, when we talked about it, I understood her to say it became public. So that's why I thought, you know, people would, I just didn't know how people could access it.
Public records request.
Okay.
So you thought she was saying it becomes public, you thought they meant like we posting it somewhere?
Exactly, that's what,
Right,
that's,
and-
I wasn't
And
thinking,
in
I
all
thought it was
fairness to
posted.
in all fairness to the party, you know, Will asked me a question and I need to respond to him appropriately, and I want to do that. I want him to be able to get that letter.
I'm not
And-
questioning you, I
okay.
just was asking for clarity, because when she said it became public, that's exactly what I was thinking, that, you know, people would be able, I wasn't thinking you would have to make an official request.
And then, and to the same with Dr. Chason. We will get her a legal opinion out as well. Thank you for the
Just like
question.
The correspondence that you all are addressing in the meeting, whoever submitted the correspondence gets a response from us. The board is only gonna send it to that person. They don't broadcast it or send it to everybody. But if anybody requests it, it's a public record, then it would be sent.
Okay, thank you.
Right. That's a good way to look at it too. When we give a decision to somebody, we don't broadcast, we don't put the person's decision in writing, you know, everywhere. That letter goes directly to that person.
I didn't know you could access it. I didn't know that was accessible to everybody. I thought it was only accessible to the person that you was sending it to. I didn't know. it
There's
was
some
public record.
limited exceptions because some of the information that you're dealing with is privileged information or confidential medical information or transcripts, or there are exceptions to the public records, but generally the records of this board are public.
I think the stuff done in the public is public, and the stuff done in executive session.
Right.
Mhm. All right, better.
Y'all got any other questions about this item? Okay. All right, next is correspondence from Stella Cologne, request to complete.
Is this executive session?
Oh, Lord, y'all, I'm moving so fast. Yes.
We added 7H.
We sure did, and thank you for pointing that out. Suicide, HCR 84, y'all, you know, I have been telling you, we have been meeting for some time. This is an extensive report to from the Louisiana Suicide Prevention Among African Americans Task Force, y'all. And I just want to say, and I'm gonna take 2 seconds. I just shout out to the committee, the team, shout out to you know, all the work that was done. Dr. Thomas from Louisiana Department of Health and Office of Behavioral Health, and Jasmine Harkless Thomas as well, Suicide Prevention Specialist, Southern University in Baton Rouge. Extensive report. We have been meeting for the past couple of months regarding House Concurrent Resolution number 84, which was a team of us getting together to explore the increase in the suicide rates among Louisiana college-age African Americans. And a full report, was conducted within, just within 4 months with Southern University, in Baton Rouge serving as the lead researchers on this report. The deadline was February 1st of 2024. And I want to tell you that report was done and ready before February 1st, 2024. I had been going to meetings. I think it was maybe about 4 meetings in total. The final meeting, Bora went, in my absence. Thank you, Bora. And she was able to collect the final product. Feel free to take a look at this. The information is, the report is astounding. The legislature has it, and I think at this point, it's just pretty much up to the next steps and with some recommendations in here on how to address that. I think, to address the issue among the increase of African, death by suicide, in African Americans. Y'all are more than welcome to look at this research. I'm so proud of this research and the work that Southern University served as the lead. Y'all, doctoral students, worked over their Christmas break to collect this data. And LABSWE was part of it. National Association of Black Social Workers was part of it. NESW was part of it. I mean, I could just go on. NAACP, was all sat on this task force, and this is brilliant work. So I just want to show you, this is here for y'all to look at. Any questions? Anybody who want to take a look? It was good work, y'all.
And I want to add that the team, the work group that did this study, they did say, we want to collect more data, continue this research and collect data on all areas of the state, rural, urban, all the universities. And so it's not just going to be about African-American males, but in correlation to other demographics of the population, so that they can think about community services all over Louisiana. And that was stressed at that last meeting. And I think a couple of the legislators said, yes, we want to try to move this forward and expand this. So it was very impressive work.
It was great work, and it was an honor for our board to have a representation there to do the work. So kudos to that task force. Okay, so now I have to entertain a motion to go on executive committee. It's been moved by Trinity. Do I have a second? Second by Candice. Any public comment pertaining us going into executive committee? Objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We are going into executive committee with the intention of being out of executive committee. What y'all think?
An hour and
What y'all think? We gotta still come back in public. Y'all think we can do this? Get this done?
17. Can we get out in an hour and 19 minutes? That's
Can we come back in the public for 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're saying. All right. And because all we have to do is have motions and then we will be done for the day. So, with that being said, roll call.
Yes. Jamie Boston. Yes. Evan Bergeron.
Yes.
Melissa Bailey.
Yes.
Randy George.
yes.
Lisa Rockford.
Yes.
Laura Berry, yes.
Okay, so that's it. We're going into executive committee. We will return at 1 p.m. Thank y'all.